They certainly do have an aura, Martin. As you say, they're heading out onto the pitch. The dugout is in the corner of the pitch. We're in the Johnny Haynes stand, the old traditional stand here at Craven Cottage. They've just emerged from the corner of the Johnny Haynes stand and the Putney end as the players head towards the Premier League hoarding at the opposite end of the stadium at the Riverside stand. What an atmosphere today at Craven Cottage. Loud, the sun is shining, it should be an absolute cracker, and of course the finish line is within touching distance, and all eyes are on this intriguing Premier League title race as Manchester City look to take one step closer to what would of course be an unprecedented 4 league titles in a row. The teams who have managed that feat, well, Bayern Munich, PSG, Marseille and Juventus on the continent, but nobody has done it on these shores. The City juggernaut have their eyes firmly on this most illustrious prize. Fulham, of course, as we know, as we've been discussing this morning, are of course to be reckoned with at Craven Cottage. They closed 2023 with that victory over Arsenal. They amassed huge victories over Spurs and West Ham. They caused Liverpool all sorts of problems too. So it may feel like a holiday here in the midday sunshine, but title rivals Arsenal will be watching, anticipating and hoping that their London rivals can do them a favour here today, because if City do win, they go top of the table. What a weekend in store, and what a way to kick off your game day weekend here on Talksport. So the players get ready to take their places. I'm going to hand you over to our commentary team, the former Arsenal invincible Martin Keown, who today is very much a Fulham fan and is alongside Adam Bridge.
Thank you very much, Reshmin. Good afternoon, everyone. One of life's great phenomenons made a spectacular and rare appearance across UK skies last night. And this lunchtime, the Premier League's Northern Lights are on show in the capital. Pep's sink or swim tour hits the banks of the Thames, with City just 3 wins away from an unprecedented 4th consecutive Premier League title. The only way they can be stopped is by some good old-fashioned London pride. Arsenal need either West Ham next Sunday, Spurs on Tuesday, or Fulham today to dish out some capital punishment. Since Pep's win every game of the title goes to the Emirates proclamation, the citizens have done just that, winning 6 in a row and on 5 occasions scoring more than 4 in a game. And scoring 4 goals is exactly what they did when these sides met back in September. In fact, they managed 5 at the Etihad. Fulham have been accused of flying kites in their flip-flops this week, and once the 40-point barrier was breached, it does look that way. But throughout the season, it's been a case of feast or famine with Fulham. Unfortunately for the red side of North London, it's the latter right now. But if Silva could strike gold this lunchtime and end a run of 15 straight defeats against City for the Cottagers, then it could just be Arsenal's time to shine once more. The teams are out. Our referee is Mr. Anthony Taylor. The home side, Fulham, of course, are in their traditional black and white outfits away to our right-hand side. The black and white shirts, the black shorts and black socks, and Manchester City in their traditional blue shirts, white shorts and blue socks. There will be a minute's silence first, though, and that's following the sad loss of Viv Busby earlier this week. He died on Wednesday. He played for Fulham in that 1975 Cup final. He sadly passed away on Wednesday, and everyone, of course, associated with Fulham, Manchester City, and of course everyone at Talksport passes on their condolences to Viv's family. There'll be a period of remembrance. A wonderful reception for Viv Busby. I'll run you through the two teams in just a moment as referee Anthony Taylor runs to the far side of Craven Cottage. Breaking news from the cricket world. This is from Jimmy Anderson's Instagram today. Just a note to say that the first test of the summer at Lord's will be my last. Jimmy Anderson announcing his retirement from Test cricket. More to come on that later here on Talksport, and of course if you want to head to the website talksport.com. It's going to be Fulham getting us underway. As you've heard already from Martin and Resh, we are in the Johnny Haynes stand, the oldest stand in league football, and we are off and underway with Fulham away to our right hand side. They are kicking from right to left in this opening 45 minutes, and immediately the first foul of the game is committed at the edge of the Manchester City penalty area on Ruben Diaz, the former Arsenal defender. Martin Keown is alongside me today and very much looking forward to this one.
Yeah, we had lots of talk there, wasn't there, about Fulham starting the game, going through midfield, sent the ball long there. Rodri sits in front and he just mops up to get a free kick, and now City have possession.
They do on that left-hand side. It's with Nathan Ake, one change for each side. Whether we get a break in play, I will run you through both of these starting 11s once more as Bernardo Silva picks up possession for Manchester City on this right-hand side, midway inside the Fulham half. Their record here is just quite outstanding. They've won the last 15 against Fulham in all competitions, 12 of those in the Premier League, of course. And they score against them every single time as well. And they'll be looking to do that again, to take one more step towards that Premier League title. Here's Bernardo Silva down the right-hand side. He's being tracked every step of the way here by Willian. He goes back to Rodri at the edge of the penalty area. Kevin De Bruyne is there and just loses possession. They go back to Leno away to our right-hand side, who's actually kept more clean sheets this season than his opposite number at the other end. But here's a Fulham breakaway down this left-hand side. Pereira to the edge of the penalty area, cuts the ball back across, and it cannons off Ruben Diaz, and out of play for a corner on this left-hand side to Fulham.
Yeah, that's two long balls now. Leno's hit that ball long. Muniz gets the challenge in. Pereira onto it. Ball is crossed and there's a City defender in the way of it.
Diaz back in the starting 11 with his first bit of defensive work. And the corner will be swung in down this left-hand side, and it's going to be Pereira who is going to launch it into the penalty area. Anthony Taylor just waiting a moment, just checking on the players in and around that 6-yard area. Can Fulham strike early here? 2 minutes on the clock. You're listening to Talksport. Right-footed Pereira does swing it over. It's headed away at the near post again by Diaz, who did very well. And it's kept alive by Iwobi out wide to this left-hand side. Pereira on his right foot just pings the ball in, looking for De Cordova-Reid, and almost a slip up at the back that time, but not quite by Anthony Robinson. And Willian will pick it up in midfield for Fulham. Out wide to that right-hand side. Iwobi now looking to drive forward with his flowing hair in a ponytail with flashes of red in it as well. As that slip down the side for Robinson. Robinson to the byline, cuts it back across towards the near post. Ruben Diaz is insisting the final touch at that near post was off Rodrigo Muniz, and Anthony Taylor agrees, and it will be a goal kick for Manchester City.
We're just watching a replay of that, and the referee's got that wrong. But anyway, it's one of our top referees as well, Anthony Taylor.
He is.
We'll allow him that. It's not an easy one. It's between two players. I think it's interesting, and the neutrals are watching what Fulham are looking to do. Look, they've just given the ball away there. A little bit of pressure. Fulham are sitting off Man City actually, but they've hit two long balls from the goalkeeper, and it seems to be really effective today.
Yes, Diaz's poor pass to Bernardo Silva midway inside his own half on this near touchline where they've lost possession.
Robinson loves to get forward. I think he's really underrated, this left back for Fulham. Flies forward. I think he's got quite a few assists this year.
His 99th Premier League appearance. And there's just a moment here, Pereira and Anthony Taylor.
Well, he's having a word. He's having a word here with a player.
He is. Well, De Cordova-Reid is the captain, so he's coming over, and I think it's the attitude of Pereira.
Yeah, but he's obviously heard something's been said, and he wants a little bit more of a I mean, this is typical Anthony Taylor, to be honest with you. And it's not a good idea. If I was still playing, I'd have no dialogue with him whatsoever.
He's going to be officiating, of course, in the
He seems to lose patience. He loses patience, Adams, with people and players, and I think it goes against you.
Did you like dialogue with referees generally?
If actually, when you were captain, it was lovely. They saw a different side to me. But when suddenly you shake hands, but when they don't see you very often, it's short, sharp.
4.5 minutes played at Craven Cottage. Bright start here from Fulham, but it remains 0-0. You're listening to Talksport. On that left-hand side is Nathan Ake to bring it forward. So that one change for Man City today. Sorry, the one change for Fulham, should I say. Lukic is missing. De Cordova-Reid is in the starting 11. So Leno's in goal. Castagne, Diop, across the back with Bassi and Robinson, with Polina and Iwobi in midfield, De Cordova-Reid, Pereira and Willian providing the support to Muniz. I'll run you through the Man City team in a moment, but Man City are on the attack on that far side with Gvardiol getting involved with Kovacic, but it's really good work that time by De Cordova-Reid to win it back for Fulham deep inside their own half, and now Robinson's going to try and take on Silva on this near side, but after a quick burst he goes back to Bassi.
I think we just talk a little bit about Fulham. They've made that change in the midfield, haven't they? So Iwobi, Polina plays their central role, and Pereira's one side and Iwobi's the other. It's working quite effectively right now.
Here he is again, Pereira, who's come a little bit deep to pick that one up, and he gets a bit of help in the middle of the park from Polina. Do you think they'll play a little bit more narrow and allow the fullbacks to come on? Is there a foul there on Silva? There is, according to the referee.
Well, the whip's coming from the fullbacks, isn't it, for Fulham, and Robinson there. If you just look at Polina there, he lost the ball, Pereira loses it cheaply, and that's what you can't afford to do. You lose the ball against City, they punish you.
Ake on that far side finds Gvardiol. He's hugging the touchline about 15 yards inside the Fulham half. Beautiful afternoon at Craven Cottage. The sun is out. Lovely day to play football. Maybe a little warm for some as Silva just goes back deep inside his own half, and it's going to be an early turn and go back to the goalkeeper from Akanji. And Edison's just made a slip at the edge of his 6-yard box, but he recovers well, and he finds Ake on that left-hand side with Gvardiol and then Kovacic, and they'll now drive out and play their way away from danger here. Manchester City up to halfway. Haaland on that far side. First touch for Phil Foden, who runs the ball out of play, and it's going to be a throw for Fulham on the far side.
Yeah, they've got it back, but there's the problem for Fulham, because they haven't really pressed. They tried to then, and then suddenly City go up a gear and just pop it in and around you. So you have to pick and choose wisely when you go in after them to press them.
Almost 6.5 minutes played. That one change for City, as we mentioned today, the return of Diaz, with Walker just on the bench because he's not trained for a couple of days. So Edison is in goal there as Munoz wins a quick header. It's Akanji, Diaz, Ake and Gvardiol across the back. Kovacic and Rodri in midfield. Silva, De Bruyne and Foden supporting Erling Haaland, who is up top.
Bassi's just hit one there to Muniz, and there's no one near him. He flicks it on, but they've got to get bodies around him. They've got to be able to look at that and see, OK, you're under pressure, this ball's going to go into the channel, let's get bodies forward.
Talking of bodies around you, we were both submerged in Bishop's Park today, weren't we, on the way here by Park Run runners first thing this morning?
I thought I was actually taking part in the race. They were going to hand out a prize to me. I went the completely wrong way. I followed two Fulham fans here, which doesn't really bode well. I hope they really are Fulham fans.
Rather them than me today, charging around. But what a beautiful setting for it on the banks of the River Thames.
Beautiful.
Long ball forward from Issa Diop, this time up towards Muniz on halfway.
Was that a foul? Looked to me like that might have been a little foul on Muniz, but he didn't get it. It's quite a high bar, isn't it, with Anthony Taylor.
Kovacic finds De Bruyne on this right-hand side. I think I just swallowed a fly. Never mind. Here is Pereira, finds Willian. Quick feet from Willian, gets him away from De Bruyne. And then it's picked up by Bassi.
That was amazing, wasn't it? Willian's feet there were so quick. He's lost none of that, even though he's 35.
It's going to say very swift for a 35-year-old, you're right. Out of contract at the end of the season, but talks have already started. Marco Silva very openly said he wants to keep him, and you can see why. Big influence on this Fulham side.
Yeah, it certainly is.
Here's Leno away to our right-hand side. 8.5 minutes played. You're listening to Talksport. It's Fulham 0, Manchester City 0. Out wide to Robinson, who's midway inside his own half, seeing a lot of the ball down this left-hand side. Willian gives it back once more to Pereira. And Bassi inside his own box. Leno again at the edge of the 6-yard area. Polina's dropped deep, and they're looking to play out from the back here, Fulham. They're being swamped by blue shirts.
Just need to make sure, Adam, they just need to make sure they don't overdo it. You know, you could just hear a few gasps around us there when it went into midfield. You know, like, OK, play with confidence, just make the right call. Another foul there, the referee's missed it.
Well, he's waved it away. I'm not sure why, because clearly Ake was pushing it.
Yeah, he had his arms all over his opponent.
There's a long ball punted forward by Bassi that time. Again, the target is Rodrigo Muniz, and that time Ake with outstretched arms on him, but Anthony Taylor waving it away.
No, it's this interpretation, and it's really how good a referee are you to officiate in these big moments.
Well, apparently he's one of our best.
Well, he is one of our best, there's no doubt, but I think he's one of them, you know. As I said to you, if you're a Fulham player, don't upset him, because you won't get the benefit of the doubt, and he didn't there.
They come Fulham again, on this left-hand side this time. And Pereira is forced back towards his own penalty area, and then has to put a ball up into a channel this time again, but he's looking for Muniz. It was a little bit too straight. It was well covered by Diaz, and it's worked back for Manchester City away to our left-hand side. Unbeaten in their last 32 matches in all competitions, Manchester City. What a run that is. Of course, they did lose on penalties to Real Madrid, but within 90 minutes, 26 victories and 6 draws. And how is it every season he just gets them in the right shape at the right time?
Well, as the manager, he's a serial winner, isn't it? You're not allowed in the building unless you want to win something. He keeps rotating, keeps changing players, and each one of them starts a new career wanting to emulate the lot before.
Edge of the centre circle, one of those newbies is Kovacic, of course, given the number 8 shirt to replace Gundogan. Plays in a slightly different way, in a different position to Gundogan, but he's certainly offered something at times to that Manchester City midfield, the former Chelsea and Real Madrid man.
He sits deeper, doesn't he?
Yeah.
It's a slightly different structure at the base of that midfield.
Gvardiol.
Interesting, Haaland's not really seeing anything of the ball, but he'll probably be the one that scores.
Well, he does have a good record against Fulham. 5 goals in his 3 appearances so far. Got a hat-trick, of course, back in September, and he's also got a penalty on each of those 3 occasions too. And now it is in towards Haaland at the edge of the penalty area. It was helped on its way by De Bruyne, and Leno will clear because it just ran away from him for a moment. Up to Muniz again, who does win the header this time, but again, lack of support.
Muniz, I like the look of him though. He's got good stature, isn't he? Big lad, but you need bodies around him. Although he does need to hold up the ball as well, of course.
Fulham loaned at Middlesbrough last season. He only cost them just under £7 million. And as Reshman was saying earlier on today, in the programme notes of the chairman and owner today, well, he's really talking him up. Whether that's to inflate his figures or what, or value, who knows? But he looks like he could be the replacement they were striving for after Mitrovic's departure. Here's Kovacic, edge of the centre circle for Manchester City. Almost 12 minutes played. You're listening to Talksport. It's the award-winning game day exclusive, and it's Manchester City, of course, trying to get to the top of the Premier League. Oh, here's a chance, and he slips it in. And what a brilliant goal that is! Gvardiol has come from nowhere. He's danced his way through that Fulham defence inside the edge of the penalty area, and very calmly and coolly he slots it past Bernd Leno. It's a wonderful run from the fullback. We were only talking about him pre-game and what he's brought to Man City. Well, he's brought them a 3rd Premier League goal and an early lead at Craven Cottage. It's Fulham 0, Manchester City 1.
Well, Gvardiol on this conveyor belt of talent, isn't he? Just remarkable. He just keeps going. He comes inside, he just lends it, gets it back from De Bruyne, touches it inside, and it's a really calm, cultured finish. Just tucks it away beautifully. We have seen him hit a couple of perlers, haven't we, from that sort of area, just to the edge of the box, and this one he takes an extra touch just to help him on the angle. It's really composed, isn't it? Gets into that area and he just tucks it away beautifully, nonchalantly.
It's a wonderful finish that you wouldn't really expect with a defender like that. Well, I'm sure you could have finished
but
like
we've
that,
seen
Martin.
him hit, haven't we? Was it Real Madrid? He scored an amazing goal from there, but that was all about power. This one was finesse.
And Kevin De Bruyne in the heart of it as well, which is no great surprise, is it? As Silva looks to take it down on halfway. I mean, that's the first moment that Manchester City have had, and they find themselves in front.
Well, they just go up a gear, and then all of a sudden they start to buzz. Now look at them trying to press. They were trying to get a second and see this one through here.
Here's Iwobi, ball at feet just inside his own half, looking to drive forward, but he's forced backwards by Akanji. There's Bassi into Pereira, who's immediately got 3 blue shirts around him. Has to go
well
back
there,
towards
didn't he?
Yeah.
Pereira. I mean, there's 1 or 2 in there who can handle that ball. You have to. When they put you under pressure, you've got to be able to use that ball well.
Willian, early ball across field, looking to try and find Muniz again, but there was too much on the pass. A little shove then onto Ruben Diaz from Muniz, probably out of frustration, I think, and it will be a free kick for Manchester City.
Well, it's a clash, isn't it? I mean, did Diaz close the door there? Referee's coming over to have a look. He's just a drop ball. He doesn't see anything in it.
Noel Gallagher in amongst the away supporters today. No prawn sandwiches for him.
No, and no travelling up north either today.
It's in amongst the real people, Noel Gallagher. Of course.
Aren't we real here then?
No.
I mean, I've never seen it. No one has looked at my notes more than the guy who as today, to be fair. Maybe Robbie Savage, when I used to work with him at the BBC, was always looking at my notes, but this guy is permanently looking at my notes. He could do the commentary.
They're clearly very impressive notes, I would say, Martin. That might be the reason for it. Here comes Haaland now, trying to get onto a long ball. Oh, it's volleyed back by Bassi, and then Leno just has to fire it out the way. The pressure's on here. De Bruyne inside the penalty area. Far side, ball at feet. Kevin De Bruyne gets the crossover, taken down by Silva, and Erling Haaland on the half volley scoops it over the crossbar.
Yeah, another difficult moment, shall we say, there. Bassi involved. He just plays it back to the keeper, and it's one of those. What's he supposed to do with it? Head it, chest it, knee it, volley it away. It's at an awful height, and then De Bruyne's onto it in a flash. Little head across the goal to Haaland, who's just hit it over with his right foot. But that is really rash there from Bassi. You make a mistake, as we say, and then you pay for it, don't you? With real drama.
Yeah, very much so. You're listening to Fulham. There's another chance that the poor ball comes out, that time from Bassi. I'm not sure about this trying to play out from the back, Martin, I'm going to be honest.
Well, no, what I don't get is Bassi thinks he's got loads of time and he hasn't. I just don't understand that. If I'm next to him, I'll say, come on, speed up.
Oh, here's Willian, a chance maybe for Fulham on the counter down this left-hand side. Early ball from Willian this time, and it's well read and cleared away, and it's going to be a throw-in right by the corner flag down this left-hand side. Aki's taken a tumble in the process of clearing that, holding his right leg.
Well, it's the foot. Either it's the ankle. He's had problems with his calf. They do get injury problems, don't they, these defenders? It's another direct ball. We're just looking at a replay here from Bassi, and I mean, how do you deal with that as a back pass, you know?
I think he did all he could, wasn't
There's a thing called care and appreciation with your pass, and there wasn't any there.
Throwing on this left-hand side for Fulham. You are listening to Fulham against Man City on Talksport with Now. Don't forget that with Now you can stream all the Sky Sports action like Nottingham Forest against Chelsea live today. No contract with a Now membership. Search Now Sports.
Well, let's hope that Aki's okay. I think it's a foot injury. He's planted his foot and something's gone in the foot, but he seems to be getting on with it.
Well, Kyle Walker is the player that's warming up, despite having not trained for the last couple of days. Ake is wandering a little bit gingerly on that far side, but Fulham have possession midway inside their own half, and they trail here by 1-0. Gvardiol's third Premier League goal of the season is what separates these two sides on 17 minutes. And so far, just Manchester City beginning to influence the game a little, but mainly it's coming from errors at the back by Fulham. Here's Willian onto Muniz. Good foot in that time from Akanji to disrupt the attack, and Foden will win a header inside the centre circle, and then he applies the pressure on Castagnet on that far side, but he does well, the Belgian, to get it away, and Ake will hack it clear and into touch. Marco Silva tries to control it, doesn't do it very well, but Fulham will have the throw on that far side. They started so well in this game. Here's Diop to Bassi midway inside his own half. They'll work it out again towards Willian on this near touchline. Pereira's there. Now he's skipped round the corner for Robinson, who's got the pace to take on Diaz. Robinson towards the edge of the penalty area on his right foot, clips it forward. I thought he was going to unleash the shot. He looked for Muniz. Willian now down this left-hand side, looking to take on Silva. Level with the edge of the penalty area on his right foot. Willian's balling isn't the best, and it's headed away that time comfortably by Diaz. Only as far as Iwobi on that right-hand side. Iwobi flicks it down that far touchline, and De Cordova reads there inside the penalty area. Can't control it though, and out of play for a goal kick. Best moment for Fulham though.
Yeah, good attacking play again. It's Robinson, isn't it, getting down this left-hand side. Just finishes off there with a little ball from Iwobi. Tries to just chip that, doesn't he? De Cordova Reid doesn't quite get onto it. They do have that threat on the counter-attack. It's Willian mostly on this left-hand side, isn't it, with the width being created by Robinson.
Don't forget, we've got you covered as we enter the final weekend of this enthralling Premier League season, the title race, and of course relegation, all still to be decided, and we'll bring you the key games every step of the way in May. Some crackers for you coming up this week, of course, as well as Tottenham against Burnley later this afternoon. That's our exclusive to National Radio game over on Talksport 2. And then, of course, on Monday night, Aston Villa against Fulham is live here on Talksport. On Tuesday, it's Tottenham against Man City, which obviously could have a huge bearing. In fact, if results went the right way, it could be that City could win or lose it on Tuesday night. We'll have it live on Talksport. Foul here on Phil Foden, Martin Keown.
Yeah, I think maybe just an eye injury. Just he's talking to the referee. He thinks an arm's come out. We will see a replay of it. Yeah, he's been caught. He's been taken out as well, and it's right in front of the referee actually. And somehow he doesn't see it, and that is a little bit lucky to get away with that.
Yeah, right, outstretched arm from De Cordova-Reid, the ball nowhere near at the time. Here's Akanji on the right-hand side for Manchester City, who lead here by a goal to nil, and as things stand are going back to the top of the Premier League table. That's a poor ball given away. Ake leaves it to De Cordova-Reid. Iwobi trying to skip into the edge of the penalty area. Brilliant challenge from Phil Foden, who gets across the cover.
Yeah, he does well there, Phil Foden. He recognises the danger, gets back when they're giving it away. Fulham in a high position, and it's City now again on the break.
They've taken it very quickly and ended up giving the ball away. Here's Diaz out to the right-hand side. Akanji building from the back. Manchester City up towards halfway. 20 minutes on the clock. It's Fulham 0, Manchester City 1. You're listening to Talksport. And it's Rodri. Plays it wide to Ake on that left-hand side.
This is them, isn't it now? City controlling the tempo. They just put the ball out of play. I think there's going to be a substitution. It might be Ake, is it, coming off? He can't take any further part in the match. I think Walker is going to come on.
Yeah, it is the early change. And it is Pep Guardiola deep in conversation with Kyle Walker right now with final instructions, and doesn't look happy, obviously, walking off Nathan Ake. His afternoon ends on 20 minutes, and Walker, well, quite rightly, has taken his Under Armour off. I don't think he needs that today, do you, Martin?
Well, I never used it in any condition, to be fair, but the modern day players seem to.
They were the days when men were men, Martin.
Well, I don't know. I had suffered with cold hands and just got on with it. But
no gloves?
No, just I think once in my career, twice perhaps. It was a very cold day. I regret it actually, because I broke a lot of fingers. We're certainly not going to break any fingers today in this weather, because it is boiling, to say the least here.
It is.
What are we at, 26 degrees today, we're saying?
I think so, yeah. Both teams taking a moment to take on some fluids. Pep Guardiola, despite being one up, with plenty to say to Kovacic and Silva as well.
Look at him at work, Pep. So we have a stoppage now. It's a bit like a timeout in basketball, and he's straight in there. Even though he's wearing that woolen jumper of his, it must be a superstition for him. Just having a rerun, look at the goal, and Guardiola scores such a wonderful goal, and I think it's because it's the space that he's afforded, because no one thinks he's capable of doing what he did. They're tight on everybody else, and they leave the one player on his own. He puts it away.
Well, it was a terrific touch from Kevin De Bruyne, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's masterful, isn't he? He sees the game. He talks about flying kites. He's like up in a helicopter today himself, isn't he? That vision he's got is quite remarkable. It's as if he's looking down on the pitch. I mean, did you see that pass? We're not that elevated here in this position, but we didn't see it from here. No. He did.
And Guardiola just arrived from absolutely nowhere, danced past a couple, and with a lovely, lovely finish. Foden on that far side, who is midway inside the Fulham half, goes back towards Kovacic, and here's Diaz inside the centre circle. So Ake is off, Walker is on this right-hand side for Manchester City. And he will take up the right-sided berth, which means a slight change around probably for Akanji, who was over here on the right-hand side. As they just shuffle things round, he'll go alongside Diaz.
By the way, what a defender to put on Walker. I mean, I think he's been absolutely magnificent. Doesn't get any mentions in Player of the Year, but the way that he uses his pace now, it's like a meeting of the brain and the body, isn't it? Where everything working together, reads the game so well now, and the pace, he just turns it on when he needs it.
And just as you said those kind words, he gave the ball away. Here's Willian down the left-hand side. The curse of Martin Keown strikes for a moment. Willian is midway inside the Man City half, but immediately City have just fallen back in to create a decent shape that Fulham will find hard to break down. They go across to Castagnier on halfway on that right-hand side, and he will go back towards Diop away to our right-hand side, and Fulham will look to come again on that far touchline with Castagnier once more. They're seeing a little bit of the ball, but again it's a hopeful ball forward to Muniz over the top of him, and Ederson will come to the edge of his penalty area and collect.
Muniz needed to keep running there. He misanticipated the long ball. Paulinho in that midfield, he can pass. They've got good exponents here, haven't they? Good technicians, Fulham. It's just that when you get it, you've got to have the options in front of you, and they all come back so deep, it's hard to get bodies around their front man.
They're unbeaten their last 20 in the Premier League alone. Manchester City, that just seems to have crept up from absolutely nowhere. It was Aston Villa when they last were beaten by a goal to nil. Ever since then, an unblemished record. Hence why the title is back in their hands. We've had 24 and a half minutes. You're listening to Talksport, and it remains Fulham 0, Manchester City 1. Silva Gets the ball across towards Kovacic. Kovacic with a lovely pass down that left-hand side. Here's Gvardiol again inside the penalty area. Haaland's there, De Bruyne's there, and Foden was arriving too. Comes to De Bruyne at the edge of the penalty area. Bernardo Silva forces a flying save from Bernd Leno. Wasn't the toughest, a bit more of a camera save for Leno, but it had to be made.
Yeah, Gvardiol again down this left. It's as if they've forgotten about him, isn't it? I think he might have been a tad offside there. If that, I'm not sure it would have counted, but he makes a really good run. And then when he gets into high positions, he finds a pass, as you always do, and then it's a comfortable save, shall we say, for Leno.
Down this left-hand side, here is Muniz, and gets the strong arm of the physical challenge of Akanji. That's the kind of centre-half challenge you'd have liked, isn't it, Martin?
Yeah, I'm feeling for Muniz a bit, because he was dumped, wasn't he, on the surface, but he's going to keep running. There's a long ball into the channel, and we've got a throw in here in the final third for Fulham.
7 goals in his last 7 here for Muniz, so we're looking to try and add to that this afternoon, and he's going to need to if Fulham are going to get anything out of this game, because they trail by a goal to nil. Here's Bassi just short of halfway. Finds Willian down this left-hand side. Robinson helps it down this near touchline. Pereira's there, the former Manchester United man. Boy, would he like to deliver something today, I'm sure, to try and deny Man City the routes to yet another Premier League title. Here's Kevin De Bruyne, though, who gets it away for City and goes back towards the edge of his own penalty area. Very calm from the Belgian international.
Yeah, he went round in a circle, and that's very good. See, a lot of players do that these days, don't they? Just go round in a circle, and then the opponent just falls away, and he just kills the game, and they just start their passing mode. 1 touch, 2 touch, diagonal passing, move, find a new position. It's just lovely how it just flows, isn't it? All the passes involved here, it's just past their opponent to a standstill.
Haaland finds De Bruyne, who looks to go back towards Haaland at the edge of the penalty area. Intercepted, though, by Pereira, who looks to be absolutely everywhere for Fulham. That's given away easily, though, by Robinson. Kovacic. It's Rodrigo. Infield he goes again to Kovacic. De Bruyne. Akanji. It's all just one-touch stuff and movement from Manchester City.
I think why Kovacic is in there, because he just wants, doesn't he, just to pass it, just to keep it moving. Calvin Phillips, it didn't work out for him, but this man, he just keeps it going. Just 1 touch, 2 touch, finds the pass, keeps probing.
Here's Bernardo Silva down this right-hand side. Walker's outside of him, cuts onto his left foot, looking for a better angle to deliver about 20 yards out from goal. Edge of the penalty area. Here's Kovacic. Good challenge that time, though, from Palhinha. But Kovacic will win it back again. The desire and the hunger is there.
You saw the amount of players. Palhinha couldn't go. There's 3 players all around him.
De Bruyne into Foden. Foden edge of the box, left foot drives the shot and saved above his head by Bernd Leno quite comfortably. But all it took was 2 passes, a bit of quick movement between De Bruyne and Foden, and they were almost in again.
Just to visualise it, see, it's Phil Foden on the right-hand side of the box. He just comes on to that left foot beautifully. We've seen him do that. Well, the goal against Real Madrid was absolutely magnificent. That sort of area, this time it was straight at the keeper.
It's back with Leno away to our right-hand side. And the Fulham keeper will again just drop it short, and Diop and him will exchange passes. He's closed down as he takes 1 touch at the edge of his 6-yard box by Silva, and then gets it forward, but a good header won that time by Akanji. And Rodri skips the first challenge, slides it out wide to that left-hand side to Foden, who continues his run, having given it back to Rodri. They're midway inside the Fulham half, and Iwobi intervenes and does well with the help of De Cordova-Reid. And it goes back again to Palhinha and Castagne, and on that far side Iwobi, as Fulham look to come forward again, going in search of this equalising goal, and they'll have a throw.
They're trying to play, aren't they? Palhinha in there particularly, he's trying to play, trying to get the passes in. Here's a nice one here. What a ball that is from Iwobi.
It's a beauty out to Robinson on this near touchline with his bandaged right hand. He gets it back from Willian, but again they've been forced back inside their own half by the Manchester City press. You're listening to Fulham against Man City on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has 450 branches with all the vehicles your business needs. Almost 29 minutes played. It's still 1-0 to Manchester City. Long ball punted into the penalty area, and Edison will gather.
Muniz didn't make the run. It was a good ball in. You know, it's interesting watching him here. You see him in the penalty box. I think he makes good decisions, but outside the penalty box, it's hard to find him. He's not really clear with his movement. Dennis Bergkamp used to say to me, the first move is not for you, it's for the opposition's defender. The second one's for you. And they haven't really worked that out. There's no communication between the defenders who are trying to play into the front man and the front man himself.
You played with some players, didn't you?
Well, they played with me actually, Adam, but anyway.
They clearly stay the same. You had me there.
No, you're right, first time.
He was just mercurial to watch, unless he was playing against your team, of course. 29.5 minutes played. It's still 1-0 here. We'll head off to see how the Old Firm's going shortly. A reminder that breaking sports news as well in the world of cricket. Jimmy Anderson on his Instagram has said that the first test at Lords this summer will be his final test for England. More on Talksport.com on that, and we'll have more later, of course. And don't forget, that will be reflected, I'm fairly sure, in the cricket podcasts. Harmy and Co. looking after that you'll be able to find via Talksport.com as well.
Well, Jimmy Anderson walked into my local pub last year, and
Is this a joke?
I nearly fell over.
Oh.
Yeah, he was on a tour. He was in Oxford, and he walked in. It was a pleasure to see him there. He's had a magnificent career, so it's nice, isn't it, that he's planning. Well, of course, you don't want him to finish. He's going to go. It looked like he was going to go on forever, but now we know when he's going to finish. We can all celebrate with him.
It'll be a send-off fairly similar to what David Moyes will get at the London Stadium today, I suspect. Or maybe not.
I sincerely hope so.
You would hope so.
The job that he's done there.
Adrian Durham will be there later when the goal's going around the ground this afternoon on game day from around 2:30, of course. Issues to be decided. Burnley could go down this afternoon. That's our live commentary game on Talksport 2. Spurs against Burnley. Spurs still trying to get that Champions League place, but have lost their last 4. We'll bring you the team news for that one in just about an hour's time.
While we've been away, by the way, they've just made about 25 passes, City, and they're on the edge of the box for Fulham.
They are. Akanji out wide to the left-hand side. Gvardiol gets it towards Rodri, edge of the penalty area, 25 yards out, goes back to Kovacic. They just can't get a touch of the ball here, Fulham. It's Akanji again, in towards Kovacic. De Bruyne then moves. Rodri has it, 35 yards out, deciding what to do, and he's just going to be run off it. No, Rodri's still going, fights off the double challenge. Down the right-hand side, he finds Bernardo Silva, who's inside the penalty area at walking pace right now. Just working the ball with his left foot, just lifts it back to Rodri, to Kovacic, closed down by Willian. In this heat, Fulham are doing a lot of pressing for a little reward so far. Gvardiol down that left-hand side. He's probably about 25 yards out, hugging that far touchline. He goes back to Akanji, who was measuring up whether he should play a slightly more direct ball, but instead Foden drops in short. He lays that off in the left-hand edge of the box to Kevin De Bruyne, who's still going. Haaland takes it down after the poked ball comes through from De Bruyne in the end, and eventually there's a touch from a Fulham player, but they give it straight back to Manchester City.
Muniz gets it, doesn't secure possession of the ball, and it's back again. It's a matter of time before we see another goal here. If they don't change this up a little bit, Fulham can't get near the ball.
Gvardiol down that left-hand side, and he wins his side the corner. Castagnier is the player that puts it out on that far touchline. 12.5 minutes remaining in the first half. You are listening to Game Day exclusive on Talksport, where it remains Fulham 0, Manchester City 1. Here comes the corner. Kevin De Bruyne will deliver it from that far side. Willian is closed down the option on Foden, which is short at the edge of the penalty area. Silva just moves short as well, but it's going to come back here towards Gvardiol, who heads it into the danger zone. It's nodded away by 2 or 3 Fulham players who are all going for the same ball. Here's Rodri down this right-hand side towards the byline, clips the ball towards that back post. He was looking for Haaland. It comes out towards De Bruyne again. And now it's Kyle Walker to recycle down this right-hand side for Manchester City. Patient, precise in their build-up, and the movement is exceptional. Once more with Diaz this time, just happy to keep the ball away from Fulham. What's that old adage? You can't score a goal if you don't have the ball.
No, and we're just looking, I mean, there's the number of passes, the possession here, I mean, they're just taking the mickey really. What is it, 65%? It feels like way more than that.
It's brilliant from Bernardo Silva, but then he loses out to Robinson. The skill to keep the ball in on this near touchline was amazing, but Robinson just kept his eyes on him and eventually got the tackle in. Now the ball is turned out wide on that right-hand side by Muniz towards Declan Overeem, but there's too much on it, and it'll be a throw on that far side for Manchester City.
Yes, again, Muniz, ball comes in, it hits it on his chest, and he volleys it out wide. He's got too much on it. So this is where the time needs to be spent with the front man. You know, it's like, when you go into him, he's got a stick, but just looking here at Pep, and he stitches in information. We've got both managers. It's a bit of a contest, isn't it? You know, who can give the most information in the shortest space of time while this throw-in's taken. But City really are in top form today.
Foden up to Haaland. Haaland's got 2 around him, but he holds them off. Bassi goes in for a second challenge. Haaland still with it, lays it off to Foden. He's got De Bruyne alongside him. Foden inside the penalty area on the left-hand edge, on his left foot, but he then just loses out. Good defending from Diop on this occasion, and it's Haaland again who's just forced out once more and goes back towards halfway.
Yeah, he's just bullied. Haaland's just bullied those central defenders. That's my ball. Get out of the way. I want that.
Here's Diaz, edge of the centre circle again for Manchester City. Akanji on that far side, just keeping the ball. De Bruyne over halfway, little burst of pace, then slides the ball through for Foden to try and run onto, but it's safely in the arms of Bernd Leno, away to our right-hand side. We have a goal at Celtic Park in the Old Firm. David Tanner.
And it's Celtic 1, Rangers 0. Matt O'Reilly breaks the deadlock with his 16th goal of the season. James Forrest picked it up on the right, played it in to Callum McGregor on the overlap. He picked out O'Reilly, and from the edge of the box he had it low between the goalkeeper and the post. Terrific goal by Matt O'Reilly. Celtic 1, Rangers 0.
And if the title is going to be heading to Celtic Park, it's only 30 days, I think, since the last Old Firm game, but always an occasion, and Celtic with the upper hand early on. 10 minutes to go here. Fulham 0, Manchester City 1, as we head towards half-time. And again, Fulham trying to play out. This time they have got a bit of possession on halfway. And Polina will try and make it work to Iwobi. Now down this left-hand side, Robinson with a bit of space, up against Kyle Walker. Robinson plays the early ball towards the back post. Decord over Reed goes up, but it's well read that time by Guardiol, and he's then given it away though. And it's gathered once more by Polina.
This time different. Striker retains possession and then plays it out wide, and then they can mount an attack. They're just giving it away again sloppily. I mean, look, it is really difficult because you're trying to defend, you're running after people, and then you get the ball back and you've got to switch another button in your head and say, right, relax, play. But it's really difficult when you're spending most of your time running after someone.
You're listening to Fulham against Man City on Talksport with Super 6. Predict 6 correct scores from this weekend's action and you could win £250,000 without spending a penny. 18 plus terms and conditions, of course. And let's head to Wembley, get the latest. It's non-league finals day there, of course. Ian Abrahams.
First up, the FA Vase final half-time. Great Wakering Rovers 0, Romford FC 0. They've had the best chances. Finley Dorrell with 2 efforts, 1 saved, 1 just wide. But in truth, a hot first half with very little quality. At the break, Great Wakering Rovers 0, Romford FC 0.
Foden slips the ball through for Haaland to try and run onto, but a couple of yards too much on the pass from Phil Foden. There we were thinking he could do no wrong, but on this occasion just overhits the pass and Haaland couldn't quite get there. Kovacic will try and win it back in the middle of the park for Manchester City, but now a chance for Fulham to attack down that right hand side. Iwobi slides the ball through towards the edge of the penalty area, helped on its way by Castagnier, but he was trying to get it to Muniz, but Silva was in there to do the defensive work this time. And now De Bruyne away down the left hand side for Manchester City. Haaland alongside him into the penalty area on his right foot, takes a deflection. It was blocked by Diop and out on this near side for a corner.
Yeah, brilliant again from Man City, the way they go from one end of the pitch to the other. Just a lovely little ball from Kovacic. First time allows De Bruyne to come onto it, and then you hold your breath when De Bruyne gets it because you think he's going to do something special. Diop gets a foot out, puts it out for a corner. It's going to be De Bruyne actually who takes this on the right hand side. He likes to whip these in.
Yeah, it'll be an outswinger for Kevin De Bruyne down this near touchline. 7 minutes to go to half time. Game day exclusive, Talksport. 1-0 to Manchester City. De Bruyne to deliver from this near touchline. Plenty of pull in there. Pereira and Haaland and Rodri as well, all getting involved with each other. Anthony Taylor is on the spot, but he's happy for De Bruyne to deliver while keeping an eye on what's occurring. In fact, he now blows his whistle and says, get on with it, Kevin De Bruyne. Down this right-hand side, he does deliver, and Haaland goes up with a most ambitious karate kick, but doesn't make contact.
Yeah, I was thinking Bruce Lee as well there, to be fair.
All the way back with Walker, and he'll go to Edison away to our left-hand side.
Very spectacular.
Don't forget...
just wanted to say there, something that Arsenal do, I don't know if you've noticed, their set pieces are quite magnificent, but they delay, they create the drama, they wait, and then wait a bit longer, and then they deliver. I think Man City have taken that a leaf out of their book there, because that was forever, wasn't it, before that came in?
The thing that astonishes me about Arsenal's set pieces is people see them and they still don't do anything about them. They don't react to them and plan for them. It's been extraordinary this season, it really has.
Yeah, it just shows how much the top teams are playing a part now in this area of set pieces.
Guardiola ball through to Haaland. First touch, just tried to spin in behind, but Diop's there and he Again, gets an important clearance in. The ball doesn't stick with Iwobi. Does run, though, to Willian. Midway inside his own half. And now on that right-hand side, he tries to find Pereira, who slips the ball around the back this time. Diaz and Muniz in a charge. Diaz pops it up in the air, and it's gathered by Edison. Of course, requires a far back pass, but Anthony Taylor waves those away as the ball was just launched up into the air. There's another goal at Celtic Park. We'll come back to Martin in a moment. David Tanner.
Another 2 goals. It's now Celtic 2, Rangers 1. Celtic pushed 2 in front through an own goal from John Lundstrom, and the ball is, as I speak, in the back of the Celtic net. Rangers pulling one back. Fabio Silva picked it up on the left-hand side. He cut it back for Barisic. He's crossed him in, and there was a header into the back of the net by Cyril Dessers, his first Old Firm goal. What a couple of minutes we've had. Celtic 2, Rangers 1.
Never fails to deliver the Old Firm, that's for sure, into the last 5 minutes of the first half here. It's Fulham 0, Manchester City 1. A reminder, Around the Grounds is coming later once we are finished here. Game Day Live, Adrian Durham, Danny Mills, Mickey Graham, Perry Groves on duty this afternoon. All those Premier League games covered off for you, the Scottish Premiership as well. Don't forget, we'll have that classified results service at 5 o'clock as well. While over on Talksport 2, it's Spurs against Burnley. A must-win game for Burnley this afternoon. Must win as well for Spurs if they want to have any chance of getting that Champions League spot off of a faltering Aston Villa. That's live on Talksport 2 this afternoon from 3 o'clock as Silva pops a long ball forward down that left-hand side. That's delightful to Gvardiol, edge of the penalty area on the far touchline. He goes back this time towards Rodri. Rodri in towards Kevin De Bruyne, who helps on his way, gets a second chance to lift it up. He and Haaland and Foden were all inside the penalty area, but it's half cleared by Fulham, only to Gvardiol on that far side, who then clips the ball into the penalty area, and Leno will make the gather away to our right-hand side. Whatever happens this weekend, whatever happens tomorrow, of course, in that crucial game between Manchester United and Arsenal, it'll all be picked over on Monday morning. Jeff Stelling and Ali McCoist back on TalkSport Breakfast from 6 o'clock. Peter Schmeichel and Rio Ferdinand are on the show on Monday morning. Of course, if you fancy something different on your commute, Chris Evans' breakfast show is on Virgin Radio from 6:30. You can listen to Virgin Radio on DAB or download the app.
Sounds like TalkSport are gambling on a Manchester United win.
It does sound a little bit
all
like
out,
that,
aren't they?
doesn't it?
It's like the old days, isn't
Are
it?
you going to put your hand up to join in at 6?
No, not this week.
No, okay.
I might have a well-deserved day off, although I'm working on my book.
Oh, you got a book?
Yes, I'm doing a book, and we have mentioned it actually on TalkSport Radio on Fridays. Obviously, you don't listen in, but that's a shame. But you should do, because we're winning awards now for that show.
Are we?
Despite the fact I'm on it.
Is it just the Friday show that wins awards?
Probably based on that, yeah.
Oh.
But Jim and Simon will tell you otherwise.
There's plenty of awards
and
coming.
Danny Murphy, by the way.
Yeah, of course. Let's not forget Danny. Plenty of awards coming TalkSport's way this week, including for this very show here. Game Day is award-winning too this week. Down this right-hand side, here's Kyle Walker. Walker, right-footed, swings that one into the penalty area, but no one attacking it in a blue shirt, and it's half cleared to Iwobi at the edge of his own penalty area. And given away again, De Bruyne just first to it, more alert, more interested. Kovacic, 25 yards, 30 yards out from goal, finds Walker, and then to Rodri. De Bruyne is wide on this right-hand side. He's the target. One touch into Silva. Silva then into Foden, inside the box. Foden just trying to turn, comes back to Silva, who gets the shot away. And again, probably about for the fourth or fifth time, it's Issa Diop with a block for Fulham.
Yeah, but that's Robinson again. So I like what Robinson does on this left-hand side, but every now and again, he doesn't have a pitcher, and he gives the ball away cheaply. That's twice now, and he gets punished. So you just need to make him aware, give him options, give him solutions, which they're not at the moment, Fulham. But then a good defending, as you say. Now it's De Bruyne again now on the opposite side. This will be an in-swinger. He dictates everything, De Bruyne.
Only Issa Diop's 16th start of this Premier League campaign. It's De Bruyne swings that one into the back post, and waiting for it and a chance to put it home was Manuel Akanji, but he's put it wide, and I think probably over as well from inside the 6-yard box. What a chance to double City's lead.
If you look at the height of this, for me that looks perfect for a header. I don't quite understand why a central defender is not going with his head. Maybe they're better now with their feet, but he doesn't look like it there. And he puts it well over. That's a great chance for City.
Former Borussia Dortmund man has got a couple of goals already this season, but really should have made it 3 in the Premier League and doubled City's advantage on the stroke of half-time, because there's less than 60 seconds plus time to be added on here at Craven Cottage at the end of this first half. Iwobi's done well down that right-hand side. Great cross. Muniz goes up for the header, but Diaz gets there first yet again. And it'll be Walker who will clear for Man City down this right-hand side with a bit of help from Rodri, and they'll look to counter straight away. Walker into the feet of Erling Haaland inside his own half, spins round the corner, finds Foden in the centre circle. Lovely outside of the boot pass to Kevin De Bruyne on that left-hand side. Silva's gone outside of him, plays it in early towards Haaland, headed away by Robinson, comes down to Rodri, 25 yards out from goal. Now here's Kyle Walker. He's probably about more nearer 40 yards out from goal. Rodri to Foden. Exchange of passes with Kovacic. Left-hand side, Silva swings it across towards Haaland again. And this time Diop's there with a header away. And a throw-in right by the corner flag on the far side for Manchester City.
It's almost turned into a boxing match, isn't it? You know, you look Fulham throwing a few digs at Man City, and they've come back with a flurry of their own. It's just been from one end of the pitch to the other. Quite brilliant, by the way that Willian goes into midfield. They weave their way out. Iwobi was magnificent down that right-hand side. Ball in the box, and then great defending from Diaz to clear the ball. Then it's up the other end, and here we are now with Man City parked in Fulham's final third.
Guardiola goes towards the corner flag. 3 added minutes is what we're playing at the Cottage at the end of this first half. Man City still leading by a goal to nil. Here is Akanji, the man who should have probably made it 2 moments ago. Here's Rodri, back to Akanji. Kovacic is on the left-hand side. They'll just move the ball around sweetly to De Bruyne on that far touchline. I suspect half-time can't come soon enough for some of these Fulham players to get a bit of shade and to rest their weary legs. They've chased the ball an awful lot.
Yeah, Paulinho there does a really, really good challenge, and nobody else with him.
Here's Kovacic slipping it through to Haaland on his left-hand side. Haaland inside the box, angles too tight, looks to spin and turn, comes out to Gvardiol again. He looks to go towards the edge of the box. Then it's Rodri onto Kovacic, and now Silva out wide on this near side is Walker, but Rodri instead goes back to Diaz inside the centre circle. The applause and cheers are around for the chasing and effort that these Fulham players are putting in as De Bruyne lifts it in early, and again Haaland, as he so often does, raises that right foot almost above his head to try and take the ball down, but he can't on this occasion, and it's out for a goal kick to Fulham away to our right-hand side.
No, I think De Bruyne, every time he gets that ball, isn't he? I think Haaland comes alive. He knows there might be a chance. The sort of link up between the two. Fulham have done all right in this first half, Adam. They've really done well chasing after the ball. Not too many chances. I think we're looking at 3 efforts on targets, 5 shots. So they've restricted City, but obviously they've had the lion's share of possession today.
Guardiola's goal is the one that separates these two sides. Again, no foul given. Anthony Taylor being asked for it, but no interest. Here's De Bruyne.
Well, I know what I think on that one. I think the referee's missed another one, but he's got to be stronger, Nunez. He's got to be more of a bully there. Diaz has done really well, because he's not going to just stand there and let him take possession of that long ball.
Iwobi goes back towards Diop at the edge of his own penalty area. We've had 2.5 of the 3 minutes added. Here's Bassi to the feet of Leno inside his own penalty area, all in red and yellow away to our right-hand side. It's a glorious day on the banks of the Thames, but not so for Fulham and not so for Arsenal supporters as things stand, because the way things are, Manchester City are going back to the top of the Premier League, courtesy of that Gvardiol goal after 13 minutes. Still a long way to go, but they've dominated once they got themselves in front after a bit of a shaky start. Here's Leno again on that far side, and Anthony Taylor's had enough, and the half-time whistle blows, and they rise to their feet around for the sheer effort that the Fulham players have put in. But at times it's been an absolute footballing masterclass from the men in blue, as it so often is when they have possession of the football. They simply don't want to give it back, and they keep hold of it as much as they possibly can. Gvardiol with the goal after a lovely little layoff from Kevin De Bruyne, who he danced into the penalty area. A very calm finish on 13 minutes to give Manchester City the lead. Probably should have been added to by Akanji just before half-time when he came round at the back post, but put his effort over the bar when maybe a header would have been the better option. But as he strides off away to our left-hand side in a sweater in this heat, Pep Guardiola still looks as cool as a cucumber, and his Man City side have given him the lead here. Half-time at the Cottage. It's Fulham 0, Manchester City 1.
Adam, thank you very much indeed. Yeah, I don't know how he's wearing a sweater either, but as you say, very, very cool. It is only a narrow lead at the moment, but City definitely looking comfortable, particularly on the ball. Fulham having to work really, really hard, Martin Keown.
Yes, they have. To be honest, this could have been 2, could have been 3, couldn't it? Akanji, really good opportunity at the back post. I think really the game plan for Fulham is to try and secure better possession of the ball when it goes long. So Muniz up top, protect it better, get bodies around. There's been flashes. I think Iwobi's playing really well actually, playing in that central position. He's got a little bit of pace about him, and it's more evident when he plays in that central position. So they've got players that can pass it. Williams comes inside, really quick-footed. He beats the press with that. But really, you're looking at Haaland's surely going to get chances. De Bruyne will get opportunities, and Fulham really can't make any more mistakes at the back because they're going to get punished.
Yeah, and we talk about Josco Guardiola before we started the game, and he's the one, as you say, who got the goal after 13 minutes. The Kanji with a chance as well. It's all the defenders at the moment. Haaland squandered a few.
Yeah, Gvardiol is a player that, as you said, you highlighted him rightly so before the game. And these players turn up, don't they? They want to write their new history. Forget what's been done before, a new man in town, and I'm going to score goals. And he just floats forward. You can see it, obviously, later on if you haven't watched it, if you're travelling. Lovely goal. He just runs forward, gets it back, I think, from De Bruyne. And then, lovely cultured finish. Not from what you'd expect from a central defender, that's for sure.
That's for sure indeed. Okay, well, I can tell you that it is also half-time in the Old Firm. Huge match, of course, at Parkhead. Celtic against Rangers. And watching for Talksport, it's been David Tanner.
And it's Celtic 2, Rangers 1. The league leaders have a 1-goal lead and a 1-man advantage too, after Rangers had John Lundstrom sent off right on half-time. Celtic took the lead on 35 minutes through Matt O'Reilly, his 16th goal of the season from midfield. Then, 3 minutes later, it was 2-0 to Celtic. Daisen Maeda picked up the ball in the left, raced down, and his low cross was diverted past Jack Butland by John Lundstrom, an own goal by the Rangers midfielder. Rangers had to react quickly, and they did. 33 seconds later, Cyril Dessers headed the ball into the back of the net from just a yard in front of Joe Hart. Then, in first half stoppage time, John Lundstrom lunged in late on Alistair Johnson, a tackle he didn't need to make in a part of the field he didn't need to make. Referee Willie Collum originally put up a yellow card. To me it was red right from the start. He looked at VAR and then changed his mind and gave a red card. So Rangers very much up against it in this high pressure, high stakes Old Firm game. At half time it's Celtic 2, Rangers 1.
Thank you, David. High pressure, high stakes indeed. Wow, what a game there at Parkhead. Okay, we're going to continue now to look ahead to today's Premier League action with Super 6.
The Talksport Match Predictor with Super 6. Play for free. Predict 6 correct scores for the chance to win £250,000. Get your entries in by 3 p.m. today with Super 6. 18 plus terms and conditions apply.
Okay, as you well know, we discuss games that are featured within Super 6 every single week. It is a free-to-play football game. You can win huge jackpots just through your own knowledge. All you have to do is predict 6 correct scores to win the jackpot. It's £250,000 this week, and even if you don't manage to get 6 correct scores, there are so many more ways to win. A guaranteed 5k is up for grabs every single round. Martin, we're going to run through the final 3 games on our list. Let's start with our exclusive commentary match over on Talksport 2 at 3 o'clock today. Tottenham against Burnley. Spurs, of course, looking to secure top 4 if they possibly can, if Villa continue to drift, and Burnley possibly looking to stay in the division. What do you think for this one?
I think mixed emotions, isn't it? But obviously one of your favourite teams, Spurs.
One of my favourites.
Yes, I see them winning Spurs 3-0.
You see 3-0, okay.
Yeah, they're without doubt. It's been a difficult time, isn't it, for Spurs? What have they lost? The last 3-4 matches?
Last 4, yeah.
Yeah, so, but surely they'll win this one.
Well, you say surely for everything with Tottenham. You just never know what. I'm not confident at all. When I'm emotionally involved, I can't ever possibly comment. But Martin, with regards to your prediction, over 800,000 Super 6 players are backing Tottenham to beat Burnley in North London today. Meanwhile, also at 3 o'clock, Newcastle host Brighton. What's your Super 6 prediction for that one, Martin?
2-1 to Newcastle. Brighton always give you something away from home, so I expect them to score. but Newcastle now are just starting to purr a little bit, and they probably look favourites to end up in Europe. So I back them to win this.
Yeah, currently in 6th place at the moment, Newcastle United, 2 points ahead of Chelsea as well. So definitely looking to secure either Europa League or Europa Conference League football for next season. And finally, West Ham United at home to Luton Town. Really desperate day for Luton, really. It's not really in their hands, is it, their future potentially? But what do you think of this one?
Well, I'm going to go West Ham to win. I think it's unpredictable when a manager sort of declares he's leaving. We've seen that with Klopp, we've seen it with Moyes, but they'll be too good for Luton. 3-1 to West Ham.
In David Moyes' final home game of the season as well. Almost 600,000 Super 6 players are opting with a West Ham win as they welcome Luton to the London Stadium. Thank you very much, Martin. That is all thanks to Super 6. Don't forget Super 6 has set up its Talksport League, its very own. You can sign up on the Super 6 website or the app. You can use the code TALKS6, that is TALKS6, and you can also win £100 for topping the league every single round. Remember to get your predictions in by 3 p.m. today. Not long to go for that. 18 plus, terms and conditions apply.
The Talksport Match Predictor with Super 6. Play for free. Predict 6 correct scores for the chance to win £250,000. Get your entries in by 3 p.m. today with Super 6. 18 plus, terms and conditions apply.
Yes, this is game day exclusive on Talks. We are here at a sunny West London at Craven Cottage, where at half-time it's Fulham 0, Manchester City 1. City going back to the top of the Premier League as it stands, thanks to a goal by Josko Vardiol after just 13 minutes. The second half is up next.
Game day exclusive on Talksport 2 with Now. Stream all the Sky Sports action like Nottingham Forest versus Chelsea live today, contract free with a Now Sports membership. Search Now Sports. 18 plus, stream via internet, terms apply.
McDonald's are making small improvements to our classic burgers, searing our 100% British and Irish beef patties so they're even juicier. And we're serving them hotter for meltier cheese, all in new toastier buns. The classics, now a little more Comparison with prior classic burgers, served after 11 a.m, subject to availability.
Whether you're drilling or decorating, get the job done with big spring offers on trade essentials at Screwfix. Upgrade your kit and save £10 on the DeWalt brushless cordless combi drill, now only $159.99. And get rolling on those paint jobs with 2 for £26 on 10-litre Fortress Trade contract matte paint. Shop spring offers now on the app at screwfix.com or in store. Delivery fees may apply. Prices valid until at least June 2nd, subject to availability. See screwfix.com for full T's and C's.
This football season, if you're looking to get involved in all the action, then look no further. At Betfair, we've made it faster and easier to build your ACCA this football season. Celebrate this weekend with a completely free ACCA or Bet Builder on football. Betfair.
Opt-in and previous deposit required. Max free bet varies from £1 to £10 per customer. Minimum odds of 1.5 on minimum one leg. T's and C's apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
We all fantasize about our perfect home. Sipping a morning coffee out on the terrace. Good morning, Mr. Squirrel.
Morning.
The kids building a treehouse in the garden.
I'm living my perfect childhood.
But come on, this isn't real. Listen, if you're serious about making your fantasy a reality, find out what your home is worth instantly with a free online valuation estimate. Get real about moving. Get on the market. Most common time to obtain an online quote between 1st of June 2022 and 30th of September 2022 is under 3 minutes. Excludes Northern Ireland.
Ooh, you're a hustler, boy. You know me. I just eat my KFC with free popcorn chicken every Friday.
You mean we just eat?
Whoa. Find your own deal, Nicholas.
That's cold. Come on, man. One bite.
Get Friday freebies from McDonald's, KFC, Pizza Express and Local Eats for Freebie Fridays and everything else.
Did somebody say just eat?
Subject to availability and serving times. Participate in stores. Check free item and required minimum spend on the store page. Fridays only. Brands and free items may vary weekly. See justeat.co.uk for details.
Hope there won't be any VAR delays today. Heard that rumour about their striker. Can't wait to see what the pundits make of that booking.
Looking forward to the match report on this one. When it comes to football, never miss a story. Get the best news, opinion, interviews and gossip at thesun.co.uk. For the football lowdown every day, it's thesun.co.uk.
Game day exclusive on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has vans of all shapes and sizes, so if you've got a plan, we've got a van.
ARIA Gold Award winner for Best Sports Coverage 2024.
Oh, it's a stunning goal!
Game day exclusive.
On Talksport.
Hello, welcome back. It's Glame. I'll try and speak because it is radio after all. Game day exclusive. Everyone is, the rest of the team looking across me thinking, what is she doing? Game day exclusive, ladies and gentlemen, on Talksport, the award-winning game day exclusive. And we're at Craven Cottage. It's currently half-time between Manchester City here at Fulham. It's Fulham 0, Manchester City 1. So the second half is up very shortly. Adam Bridge, our commentator today, brought you the breaking news earlier, just before kickoff. That is that England cricket legend Jimmy Anderson has confirmed that the first test of the summer against the West Indies at Lord's will be his last in England whites at the age of 41. He's had a 20-year career. He's reached 700 test wickets in that career. He's the highest test wicket taker of all time. What an incredible time he's had in those England whites, but he will be retiring in the summer this year. That was announced just before kickoff here. Elsewhere, we're following the FA Vase final at Wembley, and there for us, because there has been a goal, is Talksport Ian Abraham.
7 minutes of the second half gone. Great Wakering 0, Romford FC 1. The goal scored by Hassan Nalbant. The ball given away by the left back for Great Wakering. It was straight into the midfield, and one pass sent Nalbant into the penalty area, and he finished with aplomb. Finally a goal to open this game up. Great Wakering 0, Romford FC 1.
Thank you very much, Ian Abrahams. We can now cross over to the London Stadium because that's where our Game Day Live programme is coming from with our host Adrian Durham. Adrian, how are you doing?
All right, is that the award-winning Rashmin Chowdhury who can't even say the name of the show?
Yeah, is that the award-winning Adrian Durham who can?
Blame Day. I quite like
Blame
next
Day.
Season. Yeah,
Blame Day, Blame Day.
Blame Day, that's brilliant.
Isn't it? It could be anything.
Genius.
I could just make this one up as I go along, just like I do with the rest of the show. Oh, do you know what? It's so lovely. I mean, I wasn't there on Tuesday night, wasn't it? But so lovely for us to get that recognition. Well, this is not just us. It's across Saturday Game Day, isn't it? And so much hard work goes into this show. You hear from all the packages we have. The production side of it is such a big operation. Our team behind the scenes are absolutely incredible. So talented. And it's lovely, isn't it?
It is. It's lovely for everybody involved with the show, the reporters and producers, as you say. So many people involved, but and they all work incredibly hard. So it was a very satisfying evening, and I know we exchanged messages, and everybody is part of that. Including yourself, Rashmi. So let's just wallow in the glory just for a moment.
Yes, let's just enjoy it because it is lovely. I mean, we've been doing this for 5 years, haven't we? And it's lovely to know that someone listens and someone enjoys us. So that's great, isn't it? We're not just doing it for ourselves. Well, look, someone who might not have a good day today, Luton Town. They're at the London Stadium up against West Ham, and West Ham are in no great form either. They're winless in 6, but for Luton, this is a huge day. Adrian, they could well get relegated today. All the nightmares could come true.
Yeah, it's the Hammers and the Hatters, and they could be relegated. If they lose and Burnley win, they will be relegated because Burnley face Forest on the final day next Sunday. Or they need to better Forest's result, or they will be relegated, Luton. So if they lose, they'll be hanging on to see what happens to Forest against Chelsea at 5:30. So it could be the day that Luton have been dreading. And there's a bigger element to this. Beautiful day, by the way, at the London Stadium. The sun is shining on the pitch, and David Moyes is going. The programme is full of tributes to him. There's going to be a massive standing ovation. And I think as well the fans are more relaxed now. They're relieved to know what's going on. They're less stressed about it. Quite happy to pay tribute to David Moyes. It's his outgoing last ever game at the London Stadium in charge of West Ham United. And I've got a funny feeling that they may do a big number on Luton Town today in kind of celebration to mark David Moyes' last home game.
Yeah, indeed. And he absolutely deserves all those plaudits, doesn't he, for all that he's achieved at West Ham in recent seasons. I'm sure it'd be a great day, as you say, out there in the sunshine. Adrian, great to talk to you, as always. While Adrian is on air, don't forget Spurs against Burnley is live on Talksport 2. We can head, before we get to the second half here, we can head quickly back to Wembley because there's been another goal. Ian Abrahams.
2 in 2 minutes for Romford FC. Great Wakering Rovers 0, Romford FC 2. Sam Deering, the little midfielder, firing over just inside the box. Great Wakering Rovers 0, Romford FC 2.
Excellent stuff. Thank you very much, Moose. Here at the Craven Cottage, we're about to get underway for the second half, so I'll hand you back to our commentary team. The Arsenal Invincible and today's Fulham fan is Martin Keown, who's alongside Adam Bridge.
couple of changes at half-time for Martin's team. And that's the introduction of Adama Traore and Tom Kearney on for Decordova-Reid and Willian. Kearney obviously will probably offer a little stiffening up of the midfield, and Traore, well, depends what day of the week it is as to what he'll offer. We know he'll offer a lot of pace. Every now and then there's some tremendous skill at the end of it, but sometimes not quite.
Yes, but for those Arsenal fans out there, Traore has got 3 goals against Man City. I seem to remember him like a runaway train playing for Wolves against Man City. So let's see if he's capable of doing that again. You dare to dream, of course.
He does. In fact, it's the most he's ever scored against any other Premier League team is 3 goals, because having watched a lot of him in his time at Wolves, he was a little bit remiss at times when it got into those goal-scoring positions.
Good or bad, isn't it?
Yeah.
What are we going to see today from him?
We shall see. We'll run you through those changes and the lineups in a moment. We're underway, and of course, the Man City fans are away to our left-hand side, including the guy we mentioned in the first half, Noel Gallagher. They are shooting towards them in this second period here at Craven Cottage. So we're in that Johnny Haynes stand, the old stand right opposite the riverside, which is half populated on that far side. I'm sure at some point it will be fully populated, but not just yet. And we're quite low down, not on pitch level, but we're not far off it. It's a terrific vantage point to have, and one that we've had here at Craven Cottage for many, many years. Akanji goes back towards Edison, away to our right-hand side. Let's do the teams now then. So Leno is in goal. It's Castagnet, Diop, Bassi and Robinson. The players across the back for Fulham. I think we'll now see Polinia in midfield with Kearney, and then we'll see Iwobi and Traore, the wide players, with Pereira playing in behind Muniz as well. That's the half-time changes taken care of for Fulham. There's going to be a free kick here that's gone Man City's way for handball against Issa Diop when he was on the floor. I think Fulham are more frustrated about how he ended up on the floor rather than the fact he handled the ball.
Well, Anthony Taylor did let that one go, and we talk about that high bar he has for VAR, and he let that one go, but eventually he gave a free kick. By the way, we're able to give these teams so freely because what City do, they start the second half and they just take control of possession, just take the sting out of it. Here they are on the attack now.
They are down the right hand side. Bernardo Silva looking to come back inside, but he's well supported by Kyle Walker, who was a first half substitute for Nathan Ake, who limped across the pitch at half time. Whether we'll see him again this season, who knows. Here's Foden in a wide position on this left-hand side where he's got the goal scorer, Gvardiol. 4 goals in his last 7 games now in all competitions for Gvardiol, and it's his goal that separates these two sides as things stand. The first pass didn't find Foden. The second one did, down this left-hand touchline. He goes back towards Akanji. They're 30 yards out from goal. Akanji just stops, has the ball at feet. He's got Kovacic alongside him. He's got Foden there too. Another one of those players wearing a bandage on his wrist, today the right wrist, as Haaland tries to turn it round towards De Bruyne, and Kovacic in the end comes thundering in to pick up possession again for Man City, having lost it midway inside the Fulham half. Foden again, now on the right hand side. Literally he's everywhere. 1 minute right, 1 minute left. Silva's over there as well. Iwobi intervenes this time, and with the help of Robinson tries to work the ball out to that far touchline, but again Foden wins it back, and Bassi has to put the ball into touch, and it's a throw for Manchester City.
They are all over you, aren't they? You know that there's no time lag between when they lose the ball and then trying to win it back. It's quite the turnovers for City. It's just they press a button, don't they? They lose it, but poof, they're going to get bodies around it to get it back off you.
1 minute Foden's on the left, next moment he's on the right. It's phenomenal movement and work rate from this Manchester City side. Here is Diaz on halfway, and Akanji's there alongside him in the centre circle. Gives it short this time to Rodri, and they'll go back inside their own half. I can run through that team while they're doing that because Edison's in goal. It's a back 4 now of Walker, Diaz, Akanji and Gvardiol, the goal scorer. Kovacic and Rodri are the 2 central midfielders. Silva, De Bruyne and Foden supporting Haaland up front for Manchester City. They lead by a goal to 0. We've already had 4 minutes of the second half, and Fulham have hardly touched the ball so far, and there's a rare moment where Kevin De Bruyne plays a fairly simple pass to Gvardiol on this left-hand side, but he overhits it.
Yeah,
he's had a play.
But there's a message on the pass, though, isn't there? So he wants to make Gvardiol run after it. You know, doesn't want it to play at defeat, wants to play it into space and just gets it wrong. That happens from time to time. I'm just looking at Traore, who's come on in this second half. I wonder if Akanji's already had a chance to play against him. He's just put the ball out of play, because we'll see. He's got real pace, Traore. Been out with a hamstring injury for quite a few months, wasn't he? I think in the middle of the season. Let's see if he's back, because when he gets it, he does one thing and he's very direct and runs up. He hasn't had a chance yet to get the ball right now.
I'm surprised you can find the hamstrings in those thighs. They are so
one
large,
in there. There's one in there somewhere.
Yeah. Extraordinary.
Dare I say, did he become too muscle bound? You know, it's a balancing act to be had, isn't it? Wenger was never happy when I was in the gym.
Did you go in the gym, Mark?
Yeah, I needed to. Look at the size of me now. I've lost about 2 stone from when I played.
Yeah, there's a real balance between that strength work, isn't there, and the physical side. De Bruyne into Foden. Foden towards the edge of the penalty area. Here's Foden again. Ball at feet. Far side of the box. Gives it short to Kovacic. Kovacic will go for Rodri once more. Wide on that right-hand touchline is Kyle Walker. No urgency from Man City.
Just toying with Fulham, aren't they? We'll stop the ball, and then what it does, it makes Fulham stop as well. And then they change of pace.
Not the best of first touches from Akanji, but actually helped him in the end, because it sold a Traore to come towards him. He was able to offload down this left-hand side to Gvardiol. Given away now, though. Good foot in from Muniz. What can Kearney do with it? Closed down by Kovacic. He's got 3 runners ahead of him.
He needed to release that ball, Adam. Kearney there. He's just come on, I know. But as soon as he gets it, one touch, out of your feet, into the channels.
Didn't do it. And they've had to go back to Diop. And then Castagnet on this near side, over halfway. Goes infield, lovely to Pereira. Now down this right-hand side, here's Traore. Can he run inside the penalty area? They're all on their feet behind the goal, and no surprise. And Traore does run into the box. And as we mentioned, the final ball, not the best out of play.
No, but he didn't have much space there. And he's getting a warm round of applause there from the fans. They appreciate that. I think Akanji, when you see it there in the replay, look, he makes the run, and he just needs to be just slightly better when he knocks it out of his feet. He doesn't knock it far enough out of his feet. That's the problem there. You pass it with one foot and you cross it with the other, and it's just a little bit of a skill set, and difficult to do when you're running at pace.
Well, we were just checking at half-time, weren't we? First half, you asked me if there were any shots on target from Fulham. We established there were none on target, none blocked, and none off target.
No, I just wanted that confirming, because for all their, they've been gallant in this game, Fulham, but they haven't created anything.
There's a rare mistake from Gvardiol this time, after Foden just laid the ball back to me, lets it spin off his foot and out of play. 7 minutes into the second half. You're listening to Game Day exclusive on Talksport. Fulham 0, Man City 1. Haaland, 25 yards out from goal. On the run, he's got De Bruyne alongside him. Helped on his way to Bernardo Silva. Tight angle, Bernardo Silva forces the save from Leno. Low down to his left-hand side and puts it behind for the corner. Brilliant from City.
Yeah, Castagno, poor, gives the ball away. This all comes from that. De Bruyne then's on his bike. Little ball into Bernardo Silva, and it's quite a cute finish, isn't it? Well done for the keeper. Nearly squeezes that in at the near post.
Bernardo Silva, who of course is future one of those that could be in question at the end of this season. All the talk he wanted to go last, but he was convinced to stay. Adds so much to this Manchester City side. De Bruyne on that far side with the corner for Pep Guardiola's side. Right-footed, he swings it. Oh well, it was a cheeky little move. I think there was a run that was made in by Akanji, something they pre-planned, but the delivery wasn't the best.
Do you know, I think De Bruyne there was trying to score, wasn't he? I think he's thinking Leno. Leno is coming out there to try and calculate that ball, and he's thought, I'm going to whip it in near post, just onto the bar, and it just went over.
It's a big call for an outswinger from that right-hand side, isn't it? But if anyone could do it,
well,
Kevin De Bruyne probably could.
Well, the goalkeeper's expecting it to be an outswinger, so it's the best way to score from there, but it's very hard to do, of course.
A free kick has gone Fulham's way, and well, they're on their feet around us. They were given some of those clappers before the game, and it could be the first one of the game, I think. Down on the floor is Akanji, who I'm feeling may have been the perpetrator of the foul, but the decision after the challenge on Muniz from Anthony Taylor.
Well, look, if you see the initial ball that comes in, and Muniz they're all over him, Akanji. Of course, he gets his arm out, and then he does catch Akanji, but the first foul is from the defender.
Well, then there was a challenge by Rodri side by side on Muniz after that. So which one Anthony Taylor's actually given, who knows? But he's given one to the way of Fulham, which has caused raptures around Craven Cottage. Here's the free kick, about a yard inside the Manchester City half. Bassey's going to take it short to Diop, and then Traore is going to be the target down this wall. That's woeful from Diop. Straight down the throat of Edison inside his penalty area. And we've had almost 10 minutes. You're listening to Talksport, and it's Fulham 0, Manchester City 1. And
now that's a really difficult pass from Diop there, isn't it? And you've either got that in your skill set or you haven't. So like young players know what you're capable and what you're not capable of.
There's Keown inside the centre circle. Down this right-hand side, here is Adama Traore. He's going to try and spin and turn and take on Akanji, which he does, and he's having to get some support here from Gvardiol on this side, and Traore goes down, waved away by Anthony Taylor, right by the edge of the Man City penalty area, and Edison will clear from deep inside his own box. Haaland's gone down, having been fouled by Issa Diop inside his own half. He had his arms round him, and that's going to be a free kick for Manchester City. While they take that, we can head off to Glasgow and find out what's happening in the Old Firm from David Tanner.
55 minutes gone, it's Celtic 2, Rangers 1. Celtic have just missed a penalty. Mohamed Diomande tripped Matt O'Reilly. After a VAR check, O'Reilly took the penalty and it was saved by Jack Butland. So the scoreline remains Celtic 2, Rangers 1.
I think you need to lie down after an Old Firm game just watching it. It's extraordinary time after time. You're listening to Fulham against Man City on Talksport with Now. Don't forget that with Now you can stream all the Sky Sports action like Nottingham Forest versus Chelsea live today. No contract with a Now membership. Search Now Sports. 11 minutes gone in the second half. City still have the slenderest of leads here despite dominating the majority of this game. And it's with Akanji deep inside his own half. He goes direct this time, looking for the run of Kevin De Bruyne, but it's headed away by Robinson. And down in the centre circle, Pelina's there. Now Pereira, now Traore away down the right-hand side. Can he run inside the box here? Gets the cross away first time. Muniz with the touch. Edison low down to his right-hand side. Makes the stop.
Well, there's the game there in a moment. Traore, as you said, off the bench, great pace, puts the ball into the box, and the keeper outstretched, really good save, wasn't it? No real pace on it. I think it's Muniz who gets a flick on it. He goes almost two ahead of the ball, he just gets a nice little flick. But it's better from Fulham.
Akanji almost caught in the penalty area that time by Pereira. They do get it out as far as Foden, who's 10 yards outside his own box. Now Gvardiol down this left-hand side. He's going to cut inside Castagne and also inside Pelina as well. And now it's given to Foden. Here's De Bruyne, 25 yards out. Tries the shot, right-footed. Low down, Leno makes the save. And as Haaland arrives, Diop has to put it behind. And that will be a corner on this left-hand side for Man City.
Yeah, this is what this team do. The champions, they go from one end of the pitch to the other. De Bruyne, he's trying to whip this. He's a good 30 yards out, and it's down to the bottom right side of the goalkeeper. Leno just about gets fingertips to it, and Diop is there first to put it round for a corner.
Another one for City, this time down this left-hand side, so De Bruyne will take again. Everyone around the edge of the penalty area. De Bruyne works it to Kovacic, 25 yards out. Here's Silva on his left foot, dinks it for the advancing Haaland, punched away by Leno. Surely he should have caught that one.
Well, 100% he should have caught that.
Nodded down by De Bruyne. Kovacic does a little roll.
Does the Modern goalkeeper ever hold the ball enough? I'm not sure why he punches that.
Almost punched his team into danger. Here's Rodri inside the centre circle. 13 minutes gone in the second half. Cries have come on Fulham around the Cottage. On the banks of the River Thames, a beautiful day, lovely from Silva. He's completely sold Robinson on the charge towards the edge of the penalty area. Bernardo Silva sliding challenge, but Pelina's a good one, but it comes to Phil Foden. Who else? Who plants it into the bottom corner beyond the despairing dive of Bernd Leno. And it's the man of the moment, the man of the season, the Football Writers Association Footballer of the Year. He's only 23. But he's got his 17th Premier League goal of the season, his 25th in all competitions, and Phil Foden has single-handedly pushed Manchester City another step towards that Premier League title. It's Fulham 0, Manchester City 2.
You know, just looking at the referee here, plays a major part in this. He did really well to let this go. I thought there might be. Pelina was a massive tackle on the edge of the box, and it falls to Foden, and he swings on it on his unfavoured foot, edge of the box with his right foot. And just looking at this tackle again, look, I mean, I think it's clean. I think the referee's right, but he could have stopped it, but because he doesn't, it arrives at Foden's feet, and in a moment he flashes it into the bottom corner. Fantastic finish, by the way. And this is how ruthless Man City are.
It's a real cruncher of a challenge from Polinia. It's what he's known for. He got 14 yellow cards last season, which was a club record. He's already got 13 this season. Almost completely wiped Silva out. But like you say, it looks like he certainly got the ball first.
Yeah, he did. And the referee looked at that and might have thought, hold on. But as we say, with this high bar that he has, he let it go, and rightly so, and then City put it away.
And who do you want in that spot? This time with his right foot, Phil Foden, just beyond Leno as well. Didn't look like he struck it that cleanly, but there was enough on it to...
Direction, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've got to have that direction. So it wasn't clean, it bobbled a little bit into the corner. But, this is City going through the gears right now. And still Fulham, you've Traore coming on, give them something. You sensed it in the stadium. The fans are really believing in Traore, but just the quality is with City.
First ever goal against Fulham. It's his 7th appearance today for Phil Foden. He'd drawn a blank until now, but he's doubled the advantage for City. An hour gone. And almost over to you tomorrow, Arsenal at Manchester United. You can follow that in the Sunday session, of course. Sam Matterface in the chair. We've also got a couple of huge games in the playoffs to get to the Premier League from the Championship. Here's De Bruyne onto Haaland inside the box. Haaland on his left foot. Oh, he's put it over from about 12 yards out. It's wonderful build-up play. De Bruyne and Foden combining nicely, and Haaland, well, you'd have put your house on him putting that in, but he's lifted it over the bar and behind for a goal kick.
Well, for Haaland, for a player of that quality, that sloppy really, and I think it's his first touch, and well, he's trying to chip it. He's trying to put a bit of height on it. I don't really feel he needs to do it. Just slot it past the keeper. We've seen him do that so many times. We saw him do that actually last weekend when he came into that sort of area against Wolves and played a really good finish, and that was the same. He didn't do it.
No, he missed by a merry mile. A reminder, all the EFL playoffs are on the Talksport network. Championship playoff semi-finals, both live tomorrow here on Talksport. Norwich against Leeds United, that's underway at 12 o'clock. And then at 2:15 tomorrow afternoon, West Bromwich Albion against Southampton. Ian Danter and Scott Minto, the Chelsea and Benfica fullback, will be looking after Norwich against Leeds for you. West Brom against Southampton with myself and the Liverpool midfielder Ray Houghton tomorrow afternoon. Both on the Talksport network. And a quick reminder as well, tonight, don't forget the final place in that League 2 playoff final will be decided. MK Dons against Crawley. Talksport 2 tonight, 7:45, to see who will take on Crewe at Wembley. Good cross into the penalty area that time by Pereira. Cleared away by Bernardo Silva. Who else at the edge of that 6-yard box? They're all back defending. The Foden against Pereira, right by the corner flag. Pereira's done brilliantly to actually get the ball in. Appeals for a handball against Bernardo Silva from the section of support behind the goal. And obviously VAR will have a look at this.
He's stopping the game.
Well, VAR will have their moment, of course. Bernardo Silva gone up onto his chest, and then he just clears it.
Yeah,
There's
so
absolutely nothing in that at all.
Just by the way, interesting, Bernardo Silva written down here, on scene work. He's everywhere. He's like the glue in this team. He just senses danger. He'll pop back. He's the extra man. Really is. I mean, he is the brain in the team, isn't he? Just that little bit of extra everywhere. So they have an extra man in attack and they have an extra man in defence, and he does it very, very well.
He feels like he's been around. He's only 29 still, and I know he has this desire to go back to Spain.
Well, I can't understand.
You can see why Pep wants to keep him.
Why would you want to leave this lot?
Exactly.
Exactly. I mean, just break it down. If you're the best team in the playground, you don't want to leave it, do you? You want to swap teams? This is the best. This is the best team, and he plays a major part in it. He should want to stay here. I'm pretty certain it's just about negotiation, isn't it? It's a manoeuvre to get more money, probably. He's clever than we all think.
It's only his second best goal scoring season ever this season. He's been really influential in that Man City side, of course. Without Gundogan, of course, he's had to fill a role, because Gundogan used to come in with the odd special goal, crucial goal at key times, and we found Bernardo Silva doing that this time round as well.
Well, at the start of the season they were without, weren't they, 2 of those? So Gundogan left, De Bruyne wasn't available, and Alvarez came in, and Foden, and they really took it on. Alvarez really doesn't feature now. Foden certainly does, and they just keep on making the next step.
Castagne's made a good run down the right-hand side, but Polina didn't really see him, so he's gone short to Pereira instead. Now he'll lift it into the run of Iwobi inside the box, but Diaz is there to just safely nod back into the arms of Edison away to our right-hand side. We've had 19 minutes of the second half. You are listening to Talk Sport. It's game day exclusive. It's Fulham 0, Manchester City 2. We'll be getting all the team news from the Premier League games in around 5 or 6 minutes' time for you. Big game this afternoon, of course, in North London at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. A farewell to David Moyes over at the London Stadium as well. Big games involving Burnley and Luton at the foot of the table, both of whom this weekend, if results went a certain way, could find themselves relegated. Edge of the penalty area for Manchester City. Kevin De Bruyne has it into Gvardiol, and now to Foden, who's got a bit of space to run into. He's being tracked by Castagne, but he just drifts away from him, and he gives it short to Rodri, and now to Bernardo Silva on that far side, who just halts his run and finds Foden again. Clipped ball down this left-hand side, space for Gvardiol, edge of the penalty area. He'll go back to Akanji, and they'll try and work it this time as well through Diaz, and the shape of Fulham is good to try and stop Man City playing through. Whether they can achieve it or not, there's Kovacic into the feet of Rodri, and the lines suddenly start to be broken. Gvardiol down this near side. Rodri again, infield to Kovacic, now to De Bruyne, who's in a little pocket of space. He's nudged off the ball by the physical presence of João Polina, but then Haaland comes back in, and the free kick goes Fulham's way midway inside their own half.
Yeah, Haaland comes in, doesn't he, like your big brother in the playground trying to help you there. He's getting involved, isn't he? You're not going to have a go at De Bruyne. Paulinho, there's a Broja's coming on, by the way, little substitute. Muniz has run his race, so he's going off. This will be slightly different with Broja, who hasn't done anything in a Fulham shirt really this season.
No, he certainly hasn't. Didn't really do too much for Chelsea in the early part of the season, hence why they were happy to let him go out on loan. But he enters the fray. He hasn't actually started a game since he's been on loan. This is his 8th substitute appearance, yet to score a goal. His only Premier League goal this season actually came against Fulham. That was back in October. What's he got to offer today, though, as Fulham try to get themselves back into this game? They trail by 2-0, and as things stand, Manchester City will head to the top of the Premier League, and they will await Arsenal taking on Manchester United tomorrow at Old Trafford. And a reminder that Man City's next game is live with us here on Talksport on Tuesday night against Tottenham. And were Arsenal to lose tomorrow, close your ears, Martin, and they were to win on Tuesday night, Manchester City, that would be the title secured. I think as a neutral, we'd all like to see it go to the final day.
Well, I certainly like to see it go, and I think, if Arsenal are to not win it, I mean, look at what you're seeing here, aren't you? I mean, they've gone ahead and won it themselves. I mean, Arsenal have won 14 of the last 16 matches. Still not enough.
No, this Manchester City side, when you get to this point of the season, are something special. Adama Traore on halfway, just trying to slip a ball through, but Polina is dispossessed, and now a chance maybe to charge forward here for De Bruyne. He knows someone's coming behind him. He just waits for a second inside the box, then he goes down. Once the penalty, Haaland gets the shot away. De Bruyne holds his arms out to say, I was tripped, but Anthony Taylor says no.
Paulinho does really well there. Fantastic tackle. I mean, he's dogged. He puts tackles in. They're all around him. I think he makes a really good tackle here. We'll see. Referee, yeah. And I could see that from up here. Why can't the referee see that? It's our top referee, by the way.
I think he was happy with the decision, but David Coote was having a look.
Wow.
And David Coote, the VAR, decided there was no penalty, and he almost falls over the feet himself, doesn't he? As we've just had a chance to see what the VAR was having a quick look at. Castagne down this right-hand side for Fulham. Midway inside the Man City half. Right-footed ball swung out to that far side by Pereira. It's brilliant. Robinson arrives, but then slips over as he does.
Yeah, he fell over trying to get to it, in fairness.
And Bassi, for this time, looks after Haaland on halfway, who's had a fairly quiet afternoon, apart from that one opportunity that he really should have done better with, and should have made it 3-0 to Manchester City. Down this right-hand side, Traore tries to go again, but the ball ran out of play, and it'll be a throw-in on this near touchline. You're listening to Fulham against Man City on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever the mission, home or away, Enterprise helps over 120,000 people every day. Throw for Man City on this near touchline. Well, Diop and Haaland there. I mean, that's bordering on assault. he had Haaland round the throat as he gets him to the floor. Anthony Taylor's huffing and puffing and sighing, saying, I don't actually know what you're complaining about.
Well, look, as a contact defender myself, I understand what Diop is trying to do, because he has to be physical, because Haaland is so powerful. But you've got to get what Diop's not in is in the right position. When the ball, before that's played, get into position, and then you can be the right side of your opponent. He's trying to scramble back, he's trying to, by unfair means, and then he gets punished.
Kovacic finds Rodri on halfway, and City just playing the possession game once more against a Fulham side who are still running, they're still working, but not yet able really to produce that piece of quality to get themselves back into a game in which they trail by 2 goals
Just
to nil.
interesting watching Broja. Is he a player going through the motions? Do you think he's really working hard? I don't think, when you come on, you have to endear yourself to the fans. You want to put a bit of a shift in. I'm not seeing it from him.
He's only got 8 goals in his 65 Premier League appearances so far. It's De Bruyne across the face of goal, and again Diop's there. Haaland was waiting for it. Good interplay down that right-hand side between Foden and De Bruyne again. And this time, as it went across the 6-yard box, it's Diop who gets it clear.
This ball is put in, and De Bruyne says, right, okay, that's where you should be. That's where you should be. He's running onto that. What are you doing? Hands on hips. Haaland makes the wrong run. He's got to be on the move there. If he makes the right run, another goal.
And it was Silva's ball to De Bruyne in the first place. And this time the corner's taken short by Foden. Silva's ball in, Akanji goes up for it and poked home by Gvardiol at the back post. An outstretched boot into the back of the net. And it's a third for Manchester City. And Kyle Walker is lifting Bernardo Silva into the air as he carries him over to the away support to our left-hand side, who are in raptures. It's a third goal for Manchester City, the second on the day for Gvardiol, who's in some form right now. That's his 5th goal in his last 7 games in all competitions, and that is a victory for City, and that is them top of the Premier League. Fulham 0, Man City 3.
Yeah, and in this modern day art of defending, you see quite often from a corner that the defence move out, and they move out too. They're too late in coming out. And Gvardiol makes a really good run. It's a diagonal ball, lovely in-swinging ball from Silva. How many times have we spoken about him? There's 2 players queuing up, by the way.
Well, I think VAR are having a look here, Martin, to see if Akanji has touched the ball or not.
Well, if he has, it's the lightest of touches, and he really should be getting out of the way of that. If he doesn't, of course, it's a goal. This could be a let-off here for Fulham.
I think we could be in for a lengthy stop here, because they'll probably also try to adjudge if Akanji, is he impacting the actions of the goalkeeper potentially from an offside position?
I can't see a touch there.
There is no touch. And Leno should have stopped it really, shouldn't he? I think Gvardiol didn't actually know that he'd scored, because it looked like Leno had got his hands to it.
Yeah.
But let it slip under his body.
Like a bar of soap.
So they are checking the possible offside, as we thought they might be. Well, I don't think Akanji is offside, because he's being played on down this right-hand side at the edge of the penalty area.
Is it the movement from Aki, though, that actually changes things for the goalkeeper? I think that's what you need to look at if I'm in the VAR room.
Gvardiol's definitely not onside, but playing onside here.
He's onside. He's onside. That's for sure. But there's an outstretched foot there from an offside player, isn't there?
Yeah.
And that might have impacted on this goal.
No, it's a goal. Yep. It is 3-0 to Manchester City. It's well and truly game over at Craven Cottage. And now, of course, one of the issues potentially for City was always their worst goal difference. They're 3 up now. They've been banging him in for fun in the recent weeks. Whether they can add to that tally today to close that goal difference down on Arsenal, in case it comes to that, who knows. But they're doing the Poznan away to our left-hand side, the Man City supporters. And off goes Pereira, who has worked hard and put a solid shift in today. Harry Wilson is the player that's coming on for Fulham.
He is coming on, and he's coming out to this right-hand side. Traore is going out to the left-hand side to rejoin that partnership with Walker. That's going to be interesting, but you have to. They've looked like champions today, City. Really classy, the way they've controlled things, the quality of their finishing, and the hunger. The hunger is still here in a big way.
Well, I loved the fact that Silva was picked up by Walker and carried over to the supporters. I mean, I think it just says all about the team ethos within that group of Manchester City players.
Well, it's the instruction. I mean, the manager, he stitches in information. They're all like well schooled in how to play, and it just rubs off on the next group. And Silva's a really good role model for the next generation of players that are coming into this team.
Robinson gets forward down that left-hand side for Fulham. A forlorn task, you feel, for them, as the ball goes out of play on the far side for a throw. Burnley could be relegated today. They need to win at Spurs to keep any hopes of survival alive. The game is live and exclusive to national radio on Talksport 2, and with the team news, Ian Danter.
Tottenham made 2 changes from that heavy defeat at Liverpool. Maddison and Skip are the players brought in. Royale and Bentancur drop out. Who plays left back is therefore anybody's guess. Just 1 change for Burnley. Charlie Taylor displaces Josh Brownhill. That may well mean 5 at the back for the Clarets. It's live on Talksport 2 at 3 o'clock. Tottenham Hotspur against Burnley.
Quick change here for Manchester City. Doku has come on. Kevin De Bruyne is the player that has departed. Newcastle continue to push for a European place. Brighton, the visitors to St James's Park. Graham Courtney has the team news.
And Eddie Howe makes a single change from Newcastle's 4-1 win at Burnley last weekend. Callum Wilson, injured again, I assume, he's out altogether. Elliot Anderson comes in. As for Brighton, Roberto De Zerbi, single change from their 1-0 win at home to Villa. Big one as well. Top scorer João Pedro is out injured. Julio Enciso comes in. It's Newcastle-Brighton at St James's.
Fulham having a bit of possession here between Bassi and Diop and Leno away to our left-hand side in front of those Manchester City supporters who've turned around to watch the action again now and calmed down after their latest celebration. Quarter of an hour to go here. They lead Fulham by 3-0, and they're going back to the top of the table as Castagnier tries to get away down this right-hand side and get the better of Doku. In comes Wilson with a challenge, but Kovacic will pick up the loose ball, and now here's Doku down this left-hand side towards the edge of the penalty area. Doku still going, dances and tries to get the better that time of Iwobi, and it's out for a goal kick. A good week for the Bournemouth boss, of course, Mr. Areola, nominated for Premier League Manager of the Season. They are pushing for their highest ever Premier League finish. Brentford are on the South Coast, as is Talksport's Alfie Reynolds.
1 change for Bournemouth. Lloyd Kelly returns from illness. It's Alex Scott who drops out. Tavernier and Adams return amongst the replacements. For Brentford, they're unchanged. Matthias Jensen, though, is back on the bench. It's Bournemouth against Brentford.
It's a final home game in charge of West Ham for David Moyes, and depending on other results, it could be a final game with Premier League status for Luton. With the farewell party, team news for Talksport is Ollie Klink.
And Moyes makes 1 change from their defeat at Chelsea. Adam James Ward-Prowse comes in for Edson Alvarez. Meanwhile, Luton are unchanged from their draw with Everton. Ogbene returns for them, though. He starts on the bench.
Man City have possession with Kovacic, who's midway inside his own half. Forward down this left-hand side to Doku. Vardiol, just the 1 change so far then for Manchester City, or 2 should I say, during the game. Of course, we lost Ake in the first half, so I wonder if Pep will have an eye on Tuesday night. There's Edison just exchanges passes with Rodri at the edge of the penalty area, and Akanji down this left-hand side. We're into the last 13 minutes. You're listening to Talk Sport. It's Fulham 0, Manchester City 3. We go round the grounds this afternoon, of course, with Adrian, who's at the London Stadium. The first yellow card of the game goes to Issa Diop for a foul on Erling Haaland. Gary O'Neill missed out on the Manager of the Season nominations, but his Wolves side will want to finish strongly at home against informed Crystal Palace. The team news comes from Jake Robson.
And it's 1 change from the Wolves side that were thrashed at Manchester City last week. Doherty replaces Bueno for Palace, and Oliver Glasner names an unchanged side from their big win at home to Manchester United. It's Wolves v Palace.
And a final Premier League away day for Sheffield United. They're at Goodison Park to take on Everton, and Matt Jones has the team news.
2 changes for Everton from their draw with Luton last week. Seamus Coleman and Amadou Onana replace Ben Godfrey and Jack Harrison. They take on a Sheffield United side who are without Anel Ahmadic and Ben Osborne from their 3-1 defeat to Nottingham Forest. Vinny Souza and Yasser Larouci their replacements. It's Everton against Sheffield United.
Kyle Walker has it for Man City. A reminder, all those games get underway in just 52 minutes or so. The live one over on Talksport 2, our exclusive commentary this afternoon, is the game from the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Spurs against Burnley, a huge one. Burnley have to win this afternoon. You can hear that from 3 over on Talksport 2. Here's Doku, who's over halfway and pushes the ball to the right-hand side with a measured pass to Kyle Walker. Now Bernardo Silva on that far touchline. Infield again to Kovacic. Kovacic to the right, looking for Bernardo Silva once more. Holds the ball up nicely, then brings Walker in, then brings Diaz. Diaz is inside his own half, and Man City just controlling the tempo and everything here. I think Rico Lewis or Oscar Bob is going to come on that far side. In fact, both of them are coming on, it would appear, as Gvardiol brings it forward here. And there's going to be a triple change for Manchester City. So again, conserving legs ahead of Tuesday night, live on Talksport when they take on Spurs at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Good header away from Castagnier there, under pressure from Gvardiol. Little foul by Doku, and it'll be a free kick midway inside their own half for Fulham. Here's the former Arsenal and England defender Martin Keown.
Yeah, it's been a game where Fulham really, I'm just looking at the statistics, a one shot on target in the whole match. Didn't create enough. I think coming into the game, well, you heard me, I didn't expect Fulham to win here today, but I expected a little bit more going forward and created more opportunities. But when you're playing against City, they just smother you with their pressing, and then when they get possession of the ball, it's just so easy for them. It's as if they're playing in their own back garden, isn't it? Just the tempo, the one-touch, two-touch passing, at their best today, City.
Inside the centre circle is Wilson. Lovely ball. Traore is on the charge here on that far side. He's got Robinson alongside him. Adama Traore in the penalty area on his right foot. Thinks about the shot, but in the end tries to lay the ball off, and it's cleared for Man City. And down this left-hand side, Doku.
I feel for Traore there, because he should have had a shot, but he knows it's not really on. And he comes inside and it's delayed. He loses possession.
Doku. He's got Silva outside him. Doku on the right foot. Shoots and just wide of Leno's right-hand post. In fact, it's a really good save.
It is.
From the keeper.
And there is Traore. A lesson for him. Doku coming off the bench. It's like he just does everything, doesn't he? Much more secure in what he does. He changes feet, comes inside, he hits a shot, and the keeper makes a really good save.
It's a really good stop from Leno, who's lost all 10 Premier League appearances against Manchester City. He's now conceded 28 goals in those games. The subs are being made here. Let's get to Wembley, where is a goal for Ian Abrahams.
3 minutes into 7 of added on time. It's all over now. It's Great Wakeling Rovers 0, Romford FC 3. Hassan Naubat has his second of the game, and the team from Romford, quite rightly, will go away with the FA Vase. 3 minutes of added on time left. Great Wakeling Rovers 0, Romford FC 3.
3 changes being made by Pep then. Foden's gone off, Haaland's gone off. Scorer of the second goal on his 300th appearance for club and country, Phil Foden. Alvarez enters the fray as well. And one more change to be made by Pep Guardiola as we tick round into the final 8.5 minutes of this game. And it is the introduction of Oscar Bob and Rico Lewis as well. All change for Manchester City. Foden going through his usual shake of hands with everyone. Alvarez is going to take this corner on this near side. Gives it short to Doku. Doku to Silva at the edge of the penalty area. Left footed ball swung to the far side, and Leno will come and gather.
Just Phil Foden and how he's emerged this year, playing in a much more central position. And when he travels with the ball, you were saying, look how he goes past players. He's moving that ball every time. So if I'm playing against him and I'm trying to get a tackle in, it's never there for me. He just shifts the ball now beautifully when he travels with the ball. He's improved in that central area, and he grabs, of course, that all-important goal for City to put this contest out of sight. And he gets a big cuddle off his manager, even though he's got that knitted jumper on. Probably the only thing Pep's got wrong today, isn't it? Is really his attire for today. Not sure why he's wearing that jumper, but never mind.
Just to tidy things up, Kovacic was the other player that departed with the introduction of Rico Lewis as well. So some of the youngsters getting some time. You're listening to Fulham against Man City on Talksport with Super 6. Predict 6 correct scores from this weekend's action, and you could win £250,000 without spending a penny. 18 plus terms and conditions, of course.
Don't mention spending a penny again.
Oh, is it time? It's a warm day.
Well, with all my commitments, I'm not allowed to go to the toilet, am I, at any point? So as you know, you could wander off at half-time, but I'm still here and working.
Well, you were saying to me a few minutes ago that, you know, we mentioned the fact that this has been an award-winning programme this week, and you said, is it because you've started to appear on it, which I thought could be a reason. Who knows?
Well, Adrian's going on about, let's win another one, and we're trying to play a part in that. We haven't got time to look back. That's what you do when you win things. You look forward, and that's what Pep is doing today, isn't he?
Winning mentality from Martin Keown.
He's never satisfied. Let's get that Team Arsenal into Team Talksport. Come on.
It's Doku on this near side. Gets back to Silva. I'm not commenting on that, just in case they do fall short this season, because that would be a bit foolish. 3-0 to Man City then, who are going back to the top of the Premier League. It's game day exclusive on Talksport, and City just playing with Fulham.
City's to lose now.
Well, I was gonna come to that with you really and say.
Do you know if it was a mid-season game against Spurs, you'd say, "Oh, that's going to be really tough." But I just feel this City team now. We have to respect them. They are quite awesome in the way that they play. But I don't think it's an ideal time, is it? An ideal team, perhaps, for Arsenal to think that they're going to do them a favour. Spurs, they're local rivals.
Yeah, out of form. Out of form. They've lost the last 4, haven't they?
Well, they won't lose today. I mean, that's not out of the way either. Maybe Burnley just come here and play with freedom today.
Clip ball forward from Walker, being chased down by Oscar Bob. A reminder, we've got a big week of Premier League action. The biggest night is Tuesday night. Spurs against Manchester City in the Premier League. It's exclusive to Talksport. Adrian will be there. Danny Mills will be there. Sam will be there. Don't miss it, because it could be the point. Depending on what happens tomorrow, it could be the point when Manchester City win the Premier League.
You're not sending Agent Groves in then to that one?
Well, I noticed Agent Keown's not going that night either, see?
Oh, okay.
No Arsenal presence required.
I'm not brave enough, to be fair, to go in there.
Certainly not on that occasion. We'll leave that one to Danny Mills. He can more than look after himself wherever he goes. Here's Gvardiol. Gets it into Rodri. Rodri clips the ball over the top. Bob is looking for it on that far side and takes it down nicely under pressure from Robinson. Bob by the corner flag. Does brilliant just to shield the ball, hold it for City. And it comes out. And back once more to Rodri. Even the youngsters coming on and giving the ball.
Well, that's the message. That's the team message. They train alongside each other every day. 1 touch, 2 touch. Protect the ball and pass it to a teammate.
Gvardiol on this near side. Doku charging forward towards the edge of the penalty area, out through a throw to City, and Doku's taken a knock there on his knee. We'll quickly head to Wembley. Full time, I think, Ian Abrahams.
Romford FC won the FA Vase. They beat Great Wakeling Rovers 3-0. 2 early second half goals from Hassan Naubat and Sam Deering, the man of the match, before Naubat in injury time completed the scoring. Finished here, Romford FC 3, Great Wakeling Rovers 0. Soon to come, we've got the FA Trophy final.
Yep, Solihull Moors against Gateshead in that. That kicks off at 4:15 this afternoon. Doku looks like he's taken a real knock on the inside of his knee.
He has, but you know what? The way that he moves that ball there, just he pokes it with his right foot, and it's just the inside-outside, and it's a drop of the shoulder and away, and then it's really rapid, isn't it? William does the same thing, in fairness, but Doku's got that in his makeup as well. That's what I was talking about with Traore. He doesn't seem to have a trick. I think you need to have like a standard trick. Henry had this standard finish, didn't he? You think of your players, the step over from Ronaldo.
Yep.
You almost need to have something that I know that we know what you're going to do, but you do it so well and so quickly we can't stop it, but not in Traore's game right now.
So while he's receiving treatment, I'll just run you through some of the other live sport coming up across the network this week. Adrian's here, of course, with Game Day Live from 2:30 today over on Talksport 2. It's Spurs against Burnley, exclusive to Talksport 2 tonight. 7:45, MK Dons against Crawley, who will face Crewe, who got through last night against Doncaster in that penalty shootout. That's in the League 2 playoff semi-final second leg. 3-0 to Crawley already after that first leg. But as we know, as we're learning every year now, doesn't matter what that lead is in the playoffs, somebody can catch you. Throw into the penalty area, headed away here by Diop. And away down that left-hand side, Fulham will look to come forward here with Robinson up towards halfway, immediately closed down by Oscar Bob and Lewis, and the eagerness of the Manchester City substitutes to stop Fulham playing out on that far side, and it's done brilliantly by Bob. Gets it into Rodri, helped on his way. Alvarez inside the box. He scored every time he's played against Fulham. He's come on as a sub here and he's hunting for a goal down on that far side, but Robinson does well. And then it's picked up again by Bob on that far side to Lewis, to Rodri, into Lewis in the penalty area. Here's Oscar Bob cutting it back to Rico Lewis, who tries to get the shot. Leno will pick it up and we'll head to Glasgow. The Old Firm must be coming to an end soon. David Tanner.
88 minutes gone, it's still Celtic 2, Rangers 1, and Celtic just about had 100% domination of the ball in the first 25 minutes of the second half, but the 10-men Rangers are really much in control in these final minutes. Can they get an equaliser that would at least give them something to hold on to here? Brendan Rodgers looks very, very nervy. It's Celtic 2, Rangers 1 going into the final minute.
Stays like that, Celtic will be 6 points clear at the top of the table. 3-0 as things stand to Manchester City here. You're listening to Game Day exclusive on Talksport. Fulham in the last rites of this game. Is it a forlorn task now for Arsenal?
Well, it's kind of looking like that, isn't it? I'm just looking at that lovely new stand opposite us and thinking, does this kind of reflect the Fulham team here a little bit, doesn't it? Work in progress, quite flashy, quite a bit of money spent on it, but far from finished. And this Fulham team really doesn't seem to have enough here today. Of course, you're playing against the champions. Just looking at Iwobi, by the way, going into the final third here. Carney on it, just crossing it in.
Yeah, Wilson does well to cut it back. And again, it's Lewis and Bob will get it away. There's a foot left in a little bit late there from Robinson on Lewis, and that's going to be a yellow card. It'll be a free kick as we enter the last 20 seconds. As well as all that live sport today, remember the EFL playoffs are on the Talksport network. Every single game, including the finals, are exclusive to the Talksport network. Norwich City against Leeds United tomorrow lunchtime. Championship playoff semi-final first leg from 12 o'clock. Immediately followed by West Brom against Southampton from the Hawthorns. We've got 7 minutes of added time to play here. And at the meantime, by the way, over on Talksport 2 is the Women's FA Cup final. Spurs against Manchester United. That's live for you on Talksport 2 tomorrow afternoon as well. We've also got rugby this weekend. We've got PGA Tour golf, you name it. We've got it covered off across the Talksport network. And a reminder that breaking news earlier today from the cricket world, Jimmy Anderson playing his last test for England at Lord's in the first test of this summer. Huge news from an absolute legend. You can catch up on that on Talksport.com. On halfway, it's Rodri. And he just gives it to Silva, and Silva's playing it back to
another example. Just getting really kind of busy. A lot of tackles going in, and Bernardo Silva said, you know what, let's get that out of here. Let's switch the play to the other side of the pitch. Brilliant.
Gvardiol clips the ball to the far side. Wonderful takedown on that far touchline by Oscar Bob. Looking to cut forward again towards the edge of the penalty area. The interplay's good. Here's Alvarez. And it's Gvardiol. He's on a hat-trick, of course. He's Doku inside the penalty area. Ball at feet for Doku. Goes back to Gvardiol at the edge of the penalty area. Out to Doku, left-hand side. Just teasing towards the byline. Cuts that back across, and it's had to be cleared by Traore, who's done very well to get it clear. There's claims, I think, of a flailing arm from Brozier, and the free kick has gone the way, I think, of Manchester City. And they're attacking again here. Rodri with a shot, and Leno goes down to his right-hand side, but it's wide of the right-hand post.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned Broyo, because he's done nothing since he come on.
That's the first time he's touched the ball.
Well, I mean, come on.
On loan from
I will say,
Chelsea,
though, there's been some good performances from this team. I think Robinson left back, Iwobi midfield, Paulinho has put his foot in. Pereira, of course, did a decent job as well. The City, of course, they're at another level to everybody else who should be playing in the Champions League final this year, but they're not. Somehow they conspired to not make it to the final, but nonetheless, they're totally too good for the Premier League.
Don't forget as well, this summer, Euro 2024 from Germany. All 51 games will be live across the Talksport network. You may have heard this week Emmanuel Petit. You know him quite well.
I know him very well.
David Moyes, Ashley Young, all added to our starting lineup for Germany, alongside the likes of Stuart Pearce, Darren Bent et al. Don't miss it this summer. A festival of football from Germany, and you can follow it all across the Talksport network. It didn't take long for David Moyes to get a new job, did it? Inside the centre circle, Rodri. We've had nearly 3 minutes of the 7 that have been added at the end of this game. Don't you feel nowadays, when it's 3-0 and it's this hot and they're dominating again, it's a bit cruel to play 7 minutes, isn't it? When you were playing, do they sometimes just say, "Ref, just play"?
Well, no, the game is over, isn't it, though, as a contest? So it has lowered, the tempo's lowered somewhat. City it's just keep ball at the moment, isn't it? There's Silva, he's saying, guys, the game's over, let me decide this. I'll just burn up the time for us. I mean, you might as well. I mean, I don't know, as a contest, but you have to put the necessary minutes in, don't you?
Well, they've won 7 Premier League titles, have Manchester City. You mentioned it earlier, 4 were decided on the final day. 2 of Pep's 5 have actually gone to the final day. Will this one? We'll get a clearer indication after Manchester United Arsenal tomorrow, and also after Spurs against Manchester City. That's live on the Talksport network. Talksport on Tuesday night. The build-up starts from 7 o'clock. We'll know whether we're in for a final day showdown. It's happened before. It may well happen again. All pressure moves to Mikel Arteta's side at Old Trafford tomorrow.
Yes, I mean, obviously, historically, a huge game for Arsenal, but even bigger this time round. As a United fan, what do you want from that one, by the way? Do you want the local rivals to win, or are you looking at Arsenal winning that? Be interested on the phone in to get that story.
Yep, game day phone in, of course, will be on tonight from 5:30. Jamie O'Hara, Gabby Agbon-Lahore, and if you haven't checked out Alan Pardew on a Sunday evening as well.
Well, I was calling out the Spurs fans, like last week, saying, do they really want to help Arsenal? But what is it for the City fan, for the Man United fans now? Do they want City to just run away with it, or they look? But at the end of the day, they're going to want to see some pride in their performance tomorrow. But if Arsenal, get beat, it's all over, and City win it again.
Lewis to Bob. Lewis down that right-hand side towards the byline. Cuts it back towards Alvarez, who does get in first with the shot. He's caught by Diop. That's a penalty. And Alvarez rolling on the floor. And they've got themselves a penalty. And it's a red card for Diop because it's a second yellow for his booking earlier, for his challenge on Erling Haaland. Well, the one advantage that he's got is he's not far from the tunnel away to our left-hand side, Issa Diop.
Well, of course, this VAR will look at this, and that's the only thing that saves him. Either shouting it was a foul. So let's have a look. Ball into the boxes. It looks late to me. Alvarez getting there. First ball whipped across. And we're just going to take a look at it. And it's the follow-through that just takes him out. So I don't think there's too much complaint there. Is it a clear and obvious mistake from the referee? I don't think so. That's what the VAR are looking at.
And I think they're happy, David Coote, as Alvarez is going to spot the ball.
It was Alvarez, was it? That was fouled?
Yep, it was. They've won a penalty against Fulham in each of their last 8 games now against the Londoners, all competitions. What is it about penalties between Fulham and Manchester City? Alvarez is going to try and score against Fulham for a 4th time. It's him against Leno in front of those City fans. Right-footed, he sends the keeper the wrong way. It's 4 again for Manchester City. It's another step to the Premier League title. It's been classy, it's been comfortable at the Cottage, and it's another 3 points to heap the pressure on Arsenal as they go top of the table. It's Fulham 0, Manchester City 4.
Well, Pep sits on there motionless, doesn't he? But Alvarez, just cool as you like, just strokes it into the left-hand side of the goalkeeper. Just waits, doesn't he? Just waits for the keeper to move. What is it with keepers? This great big dive every time, and it's just stand there. And that is another, to be honest, it's worth another point, isn't it? If they're trying to gather, that's 4 goals now. Really are closing the gap on Arsenal with goals 4. Probably won't matter anyway, but nonetheless, they're trying to close that door as well.
Well, that's their 91st goal of the season for Manchester City. The goal difference rises again. And there's the 4-time whistle from Anthony Taylor. It was a hot day on the banks of the River Thames, but it was a cool, calm, collected performance from Manchester City. Once again, for the 6th time in their last 7 games, they've scored 4 goals or more, and their charge towards another Premier League title, that unprecedented 4th in a row, continues. Their destiny is in their own hands. They will have eyes tomorrow, of course, on Manchester United against Arsenal, but they'll be looking ahead already to Tuesday night, live on Talksport at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, because depending on results, Tuesday night could be the night they do it again. It's another win against Fulham, 16 now, unbeaten against the Cottagers, and another 3 points that takes them top of the table, and another 4 goals to close in on Arsenal's goal difference. A wonderful performance. Pep still sports his jumper as he makes his way off towards the tunnel, thanking those Manchester City supporters. But really, it was a classy performance from City, and they've taken the 3 points. Full time at Craven Cottage. It's Fulham 0, Manchester City 4.
Adam Bridge, Martin Keown, thank you very much indeed. City remain that relentless machine, don't they? They just get the job done, especially at this part of the season. They just love it. They cannot let it go. They know what's at stake, and they fight as a team all the way to the end. No matter who is on the pitch, Pep can swap anyone over, and they still manage to get the job done. That's exactly what they've done today. 21 Premier League games without a defeat now for City as they continue their charge towards what would be an unprecedented 4th Premier League title. The pressure is right back on Arsenal now to stay in this race. They're at Old Trafford, of course, tomorrow at 4:30 kickoff for that one against Manchester United. But a solid performance today from the Manchester City players, who are now over at the away end in the Putney end here at Craven Cottage. They are with their fans, clapping their fans, and the fans are cheering them back on because they know that they are one step closer to glory. Potentially, but of course there could always be twists in the turn. As for Fulham, not a good day out at the office at all. They closed the Premier League season at home with a huge defeat. They were accused of being on the beach. They tried, but they couldn't fight against the machine, the juggernaut that is Manchester City. They've now not won at home against Manchester City since 2005, and there's an unwelcome record for Marco Silva as well. He's now lost 10 Premier League matches against Manchester City. That is a record for a manager against a single opponent as well. It is a sunny day. Not sure how big the smiles will be amongst the Fulham faithful here in the John Haynes stand as where we are as the press. We're right in amongst the fans. Martin Keown often gets accosted by them. They all want to talk to him. They want to shake his hands, even though we're in the middle of a show. But they're all a polite bunch. Very, very calm bunch. There's no shouting here. There's no anger here. They know they were well beaten, and that they certainly were, because Manchester City have gone 2 points clear at the top of the Premier League today. They of course have that game in hand, and they're also closing in on Arsenal's goal difference as well. It's now Manchester City at the top on 85 points, Arsenal on 83 points. The goal difference is now just 2. 60 for Arsenal. Manchester City closing in on 58 goals. Martin Keown, a more than professional performance from Manchester City. Did Fulham just make it too easy for them, or are City that good?
Do you know, it's interesting, I just saw both managers in dialogue, and you kind of see Pep is one of the all-time greats. He's creating a football dynasty at Man City. He's a visionary. He wants to play in a certain way. It's fast football. You know, defenders now have completely been transformed. Gvardiol today has grabbed 2 goals. He's joined the party. Everybody that comes in, I mean, this is a great recruitment. Quality players, obviously, that they all learn from. Bernardo Silva probably the best example of that, because, you know, perhaps what De Bruyne does, not too many can copy, but you can copy what Bernardo Silva does, and they just get better and better. And the guy at the top of it, he's hungry, he wants more, and he's not ready to walk away from the Premier League. Jurgen Klopp, one of the all-time greats, also is ready to leave. Arteta is the only man in the building, and Arsenal, their job, they might well have run their race as well. We'll have to see. It goes to another day. Pressure on Arsenal now, but they look like champions today. That would be, 4 on the bounce, and Pep just keeps going and going. And you wonder, I don't know how long he's going to go for, but does he have in his sights, does he have what Sir Alex Ferguson accomplished? 13 Premier League titles. Does he want to go after that? I don't see anybody there that is wavering. When you see that a Foden, who's 23 years of age, and he's got like the number of games he's played for this club, this feels like it's just beginning. It doesn't feel like it's ending anytime soon for me.
They're on course for potentially the Premier League title, potentially a double if they win the FA Cup final, which is on the 24th of May. But, you know, this is a team that got the treble last season. The mental strain that would have taken right to the end of the campaign, to the Champions League final, which is, you know, a good couple of weeks after the Premier League season ends. The mental strength it takes to push your team that far and to then go again. And, you know, let's not forget their match against Manchester City. We talk about their unbeaten run. They were beaten against Real Madrid in the quarterfinals, and that was on a penalty shootout. I mean, but they played excellently in that game. You'd have to argue that they were the better side in that. They are relentless. How much mentally does it take for Pep as a manager to push his side as far as he does?
Well, look, of course it's determination. where your mental strength is when you're at the top of the table, and I've been at both. I suffered relegation with Aston Villa. It really hurts, and I don't want to. I mean, I'd sooner swap that beautiful feeling of being in the running for lots of trophies that City have than half the clubs that are going at the bottom. That's where mental strength really is. With your Burnleys today, you know, and your Nottingham Forests, they look in awe of what's been accomplished with City. Obviously, you have your setbacks, and it hurts when you go out of competition. But there's enough character, enough experience, and above all else, the manager, isn't he? He's the role model, the ultimate role model. He doesn't take. I mean, there was no Grealish today. We didn't see Grealish. It'll be very interesting what they do on Tuesday. Got a lot of players off the pitch, didn't he? Got the job done nice and early. I'm not really sure who the starting 11 will be. De Bruyne now is in superb form. Foden now he's coming from an outside position to a central position, and he's owning it. He runs the show now for City.
Yeah, he absolutely does, doesn't he? OK, so full time here at Craven Cottage. It finished Fulham 0, Manchester City 4, as they take one step closer to securing yet another Premier League title. It will be their fourth on the bounce, an unprecedented fourth. And that has never been achieved here in England.